What's up, Alphas? It's your boy Zell May, and finally she back. We missed her.
That's very extra. Like, finally, I was like one whole day ever, okay, in the history of the show, and it's like, oh my gosh, she's finally back. I know. I am indispensable, and the show cannot go on without me. I know it did, though. So did a good job holding it down, but come on, let's be real. I'm Classic Ruby, y'all. You know what's up, what's good, what's happening, what's popping this lovely Monday evening. How is everyone else? I'm going to tell y'all about me first, okay? Share my eye story. I am on cloud 9. You know why? Do you know why? Because I worked the women's retreat this weekend. That's right, y'all. That's right. And a lot of things went wrong, and yet somehow it all went right anyway. And I was majestical. And they loved it. They loved it, y'all. They loved it. And so I am still floating on cloud 9. How's everyone else doing? How are you doing today, Zell?
I'm blessed. Sick. Been sick since last Wednesday, but we pushing through.
Well, you know, okay. See, that makes sense now. I get it, because someone asked me, they were like, oh, Zell said you were sick. I'm like, no, my laptop was sick. Still is, but at least it's functioning today, right? We got something. But I'm like, but I wasn't sick. Oh, but you were sick. And you still held it down? Okay, yeah. See, I got you. Don't worry about it. Listen, I got something for that, okay? I got something for that. We'll talk about my business that I be starting. You know what I mean? We'll talk about it in a bit, you know, okay? Because it heals these types of things. You don't have to worry about them anymore. I'm just saying. Okay, shameless self-promotion. I can't help myself. Okay, I'm already up here still. And of course, as I did also do a little bit of shameless self-promotion about I'll Be That News. Okay, it's definitely highlighted in the brochure underneath my name and all of my other accolades. So I'm just saying. I think today is going to be an excellent show, because it was already an excellent show like on Saturday, and like for me, that's just like that was it. That was just let me know what July is gonna be. It set the tone. Are you ready to set the tone with me, Zell?
I am. Let's set the tone. It's gonna be a great month of July. We excited. Everything's going down. Done TZ excited. He already accusing Ruby of selling crystals.
I do not sell crystals. Thank you very much.
Asking what your
crystals. Okay. So anyways, which is not like crystals at all. And you'll see. Look at my youthfulness. Look at my beauty, okay? It's the hydrosol in me. Anyways, while we are talking about being able to purchase stuff, interestingly enough, 2 out of 3 of my stories today is about people who don't purchase things and the fallout of how that's going to be. Our first story coming to us from Char Willies. Thank you very much, y'all. Let's check out the very first story of the night about shoplifters.
Let's do it.
Y'all, now this story, I don't even know where to go with this story. I mean, y'all, we have covered so many shoplifting and theft stories as of lately. And, you know, before we even go on further, let's just give our shout out to Char Willie. Thank you so much for this story. Now, when I first took a look at it, I said, it's just not enough information for me. So I did dig a little bit deeper. We did get a little bit more information for y'all. But before I go any further, okay, let us take a look at the original video that Char submitted that sparked this deep dive by Ruby.
Now to the growing violence plaguing city businesses. A CVS employee is now facing murder charges for fatally stabbing an alleged shoplifter.
All right, that incident now raising new questions regarding the use of self-defense. Lisette Nunez has more on the investigation from Midtown.
A fatal stabbing at CVS in Midtown is now the center of a shoplifting incident turned deadly. The NYPD was called to the store along Broadway and 49th Street on Thursday night for a report of a robbery. When officers arrived, they found a man with a stab wound to his torso. Sources believe that some kind of altercation occurred between Scotty Eno, a CVS employee, and the 50-year-old alleged shoplifter. Eno is accused of pulling out a knife and fatally stabbing the 50-year-old 20-year-old whose identity has yet to be released. And after the fatal stabbing, Scotty Eno was arrested and charged with murder and criminal possession of a weapon. The incident raising questions over self-defense. Jasmine Haas works in retail and says she often faces similar scenarios.
Do you deal with shoplifting on a regular basis?
A lot.
What do you do in those situations in retail?
We just have to call the police because we can't really do much but just call the police.
Now, this is an important point to note, and I don't want to overlook it at all. If you've worked in retail ever, I have, in multiple different locations, and what they always tell you is call the police. Your life, even the merchandise you're protecting, whatever, is not worth your life, okay? It's like, it's not worth your life. Your life, if that customer needs to be right so bad, if that customer needs to steal something so bad, that they'll pull out a gun, pull out a knife, or just risk the threat of violence. Dude, let them do them. Call the police. It's on the security cameras. They'll get caught. It's fine. Okay? I don't know one company that actually requires employees in any way, shape, or form to step in and for them to physically do anything about shoplifters except to call the police, right? But if y'all were listening, you probably heard them say, well, there is an ongoing conflict between the CVS worker and the shoplifter. And I found further confirmation of that, but let's keep listening.
Stathis owns Carnegie Diner and Cafe, a restaurant around the corner from where the stabbing happened. He says he feels for stores that are constantly targeted by shoplifters, but doesn't believe employees should take matters into their own hands.
This is not, our job. Our job is to operate business, employ people, and satisfy customers. So I don't agree with that.
Fox 5 reached out to CVS for comment. A rep says we are cooperating with police in their investigation of this incident. In Midtown, Lisette Nunez, Fox 5 News.
Who you see on the screen here, this is our suspect, Scotty Eno. He's 46 years old, okay, and he worked at CVS in Times Square. He is alleged to have killed a 50-year-old homeless shoplifter who was well known to him and to that CVS, okay? And so let's take a look here at some of these extra details we've got going on. And as you can see, obviously, Scotty Eno has already appeared in court. This is him in court at the time. His mother is claiming self-defense. So let's take a full look at Scotty Eno's face before we continue so you can see exactly who we're talking about. COVID mask. There we go. There is Scotty Eno, the 46-year-old man who allegedly killed a 50-year-old homeless man who was known to him and who he had had weeks, apparently, of beef with leading up to this event. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, so this just happened last Thursday morning. The story that I'm going to tell you now is coming from Scotty Eno, our suspect's mother, Lucille Eno. Okay, and Lucille Eno says there was a fight this Thursday morning. Okay, Scotty Eno, 46 years old, he was at work at the time. The guy came in and started arguing with Scotty, and next thing you know, Scotty was on the ground. He acted in self-defense. The suspect's mother, Lucille Eno, told Daily News. And when the guy threw him down and started beating him up, Scotty stabbed him. This is what 72-year-old Lucille Eno, the suspect's mother, is explaining to us. So, take it with a grain of salt, right? Now, police say that this fight broke out after Eno attempted to stop the vagrant from stealing Gatorade and a container of creamer from the Broadway and West 49th Street store at around 12:30 a.m. Obviously, we do not have the surveillance video as of yet, but the details are being told that after being punched by the homeless man, that Eno allegedly whipped out a knife and fatally stabbed the man in the torso. Police were called to the scene for a reported robbery in progress, but the stabbing had already taken place when they arrived. The injured man was taken by emergency medical services to NYC Health and Hospitals Bellevue, where he was pronounced dead. So at the time of, the first two are the video we watched and also the article that I'm reading to you here, at those times, proper identification to the family had not been given yet because, it's a homeless man. It's a little bit harder to track down next to kin and whatnot. However, they have now tracked down next of kin. And so we do have an identity. Okay, so I'm going to share that with you guys now. Okay, so this would be Charles Brito, 50 years old. Now, this is probably, I'm going to show you two different images, just like I did with Scotty Eno, okay? Now, Charles Brito, this is probably closer to what the man looked like at the time of his death in this incident, because he had been on the streets for a long time. And unfortunately, it was due to what? Drugs and addiction. Of course it was. But let's take a look, because we also get to hear from his family. And let's take a look at an image of him at a better time. Because we judge homeless people as though they were born homeless and they'll die homeless. There's nothing in between. Charles Brito has a family. This is his daughter. This is a picture of him and his daughter before his battle with drugs began. Now, his entire family, the family of Charles Brito, have all tried desperately to get the victim off of drugs, but to no avail. In fact, his broken-hearted and teary dad, Juan Brito, 75 years old, told the Post, "I tried to help him and advise him, and everybody prayed for him, but he continued doing drugs." Again, in this article, it does let us know that he was trying to take both Gatorade and a container of creamer from the store when the confrontation with Eno 46 ensued. Now, what's interesting about this is you're talking about two ill black men, because you have one that is ill with drug addiction and drug-related illnesses, and then you have Scotty Eno, who has sickle cell anemia, right? And you have Charles Brito, 50 years old, who was not a criminal until he was on drugs, and then his criminal record is being a serial shoplifter. Very common for drug addicts. You have Scotty Eno, who has no criminal record until this moment in time. Okay? Now, everyone says that they've had prior run-ins. Again, they do have a history. And in fact, Eno's lawyer says that Charles came into the store on multiple occasions and literally threatened the life of Scotty Eno, saying, "I'm going to kill you next time." That kind of situation. Is it true? Will we see any evidence of this? I'm not really sure. Scotty Eno has been charged with murder, manslaughter, and 2 counts of weapons possession. Cops allegedly found a blood-soaked folding knife and brass knuckles on him. Bail was set at $100,000, and his mother, Lucille Eno, is very worried because he has sickle cell anemia and he has medication he needs to take on a daily basis. I'm sure that he's told the police in the prison this, and I'm sure that they will give him, or the jail this, and I'm sure that they will give him life-saving necessary medication. However, what a tragedy. This is 2 lives lost because what? Maybe the fog machine is the answer. Another answer could simply be, again, informing our employees that, like, I don't know, their jobs, their manhood, their bonuses are not going to be affected by some petty shoplifters. I don't know. What possessed this man in particular to do this? Was it over trying to save CVS $3, $4? Is that really what it was? Or was this the personal beef and the how dare you of it all? How dare you disrespect me at my job of it all? I guess we will see the details in surveillance cam. I'm sure we will hear eyewitness testimony thereafter, right? But what do y'all think? What do you guys think really caused this? Do you think it was actually just enough is enough with all of this shoplifting? Do you think it was the personal beef between the two of them behind the scenes? Or, maybe they knew each other. They're only a few years apart, right? Maybe they knew each other from the street, from the block somewhere else. Like, what do y'all think caused this? I don't really know, but I do know that if we're saying this fog machine thing is a possible solution, maybe we need to start deploying that ASAP, because this is ridiculous. Lives lost. And if you work in retail, please understand that theft or even robbery, there's no possible way to put someone to death for those crimes, okay? They're not capital crimes. Therefore, you reacting in a capital kind of way, it's just not justifiable. It's not. Now, this battle about the self-defense, you allowed to have a knife in your pocket at work? You allowed to pull it at work? You allowed to use it on customers? Is it reasonable to respond to a punch in the face by a homeless druggie with a knife in your a folding knife in your pocket? I mean, I don't know. Right? These are all answers that are going to be answered by the court. Y'all let us know what you think. And thanks again, Shar, for this story. And if y'all didn't know what I was talking about, by the way, with the fog machines and the anti-theft fog, don't worry. There will be an update about that. Well, not an update, but more so like an illustration of that coming up in our second story. What do you think? What do you think about this insanity?
Listen. Your life is more valuable than anything. Everybody said it. It's been a constant theme. They tell you at your job, all of that, because again, people will hurt you at these stores. They will be upset. They will be mad. They will attack you. They will do all kind of things to you over a simple Gatorade. And what was the other thing?
A creamer.
Yeah, a creamer.
Yeah.
Listen,
Yeah.
if a dude robbing a creamer out the store, I'm be like, yo, listen, I don't know.
Creamer.
Yeah, I'm not finna risk my life or go to jail because I might have to do what I have to do over a creamer and a Gatorade. I'm sorry, sir. Ain't like you stole my PS5 I had in my buggy.
Right. I'm just saying. I mean, and yes, there is something to say. These people they were like 4 years apart. The lawyer and the mother are both say that, of course, they were beefing. It's like 5 or 6 occasions that Mr. Brito had come into the CVS. And, I don't know why, but Scotty, just took it upon himself to feel a ways about this particular homeless man. Maybe he feels a way about homeless men, but he took it upon himself to be in the battle with this man. Now he's walking around at work with brass knuckles and a folding knife. And so he got punched by the homeless man. Apparently, and I mean, again, I guess we'll see the surveillance because the way he sees it is almost like he was just jumped out of nowhere. But then his response is to pull out the folding knife. He had brass knuckles. So, I mean, even right there, he had a non-lethal thing that would really have hurt. But he decided to pull out the knife and stab the man 8 times instead. Like, listen, what a waste. That's all I can think of is what a waste over maybe $5. Wow, $5 that wouldn't even have come out of that man's check or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, wow, what a waste of 2 lives. It's gone.
Listen, just let loss prevention take care. That's their job. Like, listen.
Well, and then cynical one though said, and this is what I was thinking, because I'm like, and wait till we see the second story, y'all will see why I'm like, what is going on here? But it seems like there might be something more to it. Like the companies are saying on the surface, we don't want our employees doing this at all, to the point where we'll punish them even, right? Don't want them to do it. But at the same time, the fact that so many employees are doing this suggests that, they are being told behind the scenes, like, you better or else, right? Or being told that they'll lose bonuses, they'll lose this, they'll lose that. And I've heard this from multiple people, including Cynical when she came in and she said the same thing as well, right? She was told this at a job, like, you better stop them, you better whatever, like she's a paid security guard or something. It's like, so, I think they lie about it after the fact because they know they'll get in trouble. But I think they're putting pressure on these employees, and the employees feel like they have no choice but to react because they can't afford for that money to come out of their little minimum wage job that's barely keeping, them above water. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's a sad situation.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, them people they'll fire you tomorrow. You don't have to. Hey, Miss Marjorie, but they'll fire you tomorrow. You don't have to list your life. They'll let you go. And if you did confront them, they'll fire you for confronting them after, even if they told you to. But, hey, the camera caught you confronting the customer. You're not supposed to do that. Then they'll fire you. But you kind of led me to believe I was supposed to. You like go over there and make sure they ain't stealing. What that's supposed to mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
That's a sad story. But we got another sad story. Then we're gonna We got some fun topics as well, but we got another one. Of course, it comes off the heels of last Monday. Ruby told y'all, and now, as I do, I'm gonna confirm something Ruby said as proof of evidence on, because y'all remember the guy who last week pretended to be customs for the Mexican lady? I'm assuming she's Mexican, but y'all remember that? Yeah, this story kind of confirms that. Listen. Shout out to Shaw for this story. Was down mouth, because it is Zelmate, one of the two hosts of I'll Be That News. Remember to like and subscribe, all that stuff, hit that notification bell, all that good stuff. Let's get into it, because two things we do talk about in this show is migrants and the police. And oftentimes when they go together, we have found out that bad things happen. I talked about last week, and Ruben brought up, listen, because the real ones do it, you can fake it. That's why they're in that situation in the first place. Let's go over this story that's happened in Chicago. Dr. Shaw again, the best model on the internet, doing her job. Excellent. Let's go look over this story.
Well, Tanya and Terrell, thousands of asylum seekers have been arriving in Chicago since last summer, and hundreds have been sleeping on police station floors all across the city. Well, now sources are confirming that more than one CPD officer is under internal investigation, facing allegations of having sexual interactions with female migrants. This allegedly happened at the 10th District Police Station.
We can break this down a little bit. Why is this happening? Why would this happen? Person in power. A person in power, knowing that they have like certain power over you, will always dictate that power. They will always use that power to inflict damage to you because they know they can. They're sexual deviants. They probably looking for a way to get some of that edge off at work, you would say. So they use their power and their influence, like, oh, you're not legal. You're not even human to me, so you can do the one thing you're good at and please me to stay in this country. Which, as we talked about last week, was sickening that this man used a fake role to pretend that he was something else. But that's the thought process. You give people power, especially a regular person who don't come from power, they typically act terrible. Which is an example we're going to give later on of you give certain people power, they don't know how to act. They don't have like no couth. They're not professional. Certain things, like I said, you got to hold people accountable.
In North Lawndale. Now, according to the Chicago Sun-Times, one of the officers has been accused of impregnating a teenage girl. Both COPA and Internal Affairs are investigating, but it's unclear if anything has been turned over to Cook County prosecutors. Meanwhile, the mayor's office released a statement late last night saying the city takes these allegations, as well as the care and well-being of all residents and new arrivals, very seriously.
See, that's what I be worried about when y'all dudes be talking about y'all like them inexperienced women. Because I'm wondering what these people be looking at. I do wonder. Like, for me personally, I'm not a dude that want to raise a child that's a grown woman that's not mine. But y'all seem to be liking that. And listen, y'all like him young and all that weird shit. See, but this is the problem. It gets to how young do you like them? How far willing are you to go to find that virgin? Because kids are having a lot of sex in high school now, apparently. So how far are you willing to go? And apparently they're going pretty far in impregnating migrants who's just seeking asylum from their horrible act.
Seriously, we are monitoring the situation closely, but cannot comment further, as this is the subject of an ongoing investigation by the Bureau of Internal Affairs and the Civilian Office of Police Accountability. Now, back here live, CPD has not said if any of the officers have been stripped of their police powers.
That's very interesting, but I guess they have to have a real court case.
First at 4, though, breaking news out of North Lawndale. New developments in the investigation into claims that Chicago police officers were having sex with migrants at a police station.
Our Suzanne Lemignot live at the 10th District Police Station, where minutes ago the migrants were moved out. Suzanne.
So apparently they're moving the migrants out because the police can't handle themselves. They don't have no professionalism. They can't control their urges. Even though you're supposed to be, of course, men are supposed to be the creatures who have logic and can control urges because we're supposed to be the leaders.
We're still waiting to
listen. A leader is a leader. Ain't many people can be a leader.
hear exactly where those migrants are being taken. I asked one of the men in Spanish if he knew where he was going. He told me, "My love, I have no idea where I'm going." Now take a look right here. You're going to see at least 60 migrants just a short time ago that were housed in the lobby of the 10th District. They got onto two different buses. Families with children boarded a larger school bus. The smaller bus took only single men from the 10th district. The migrants being moved from this location comes after this.
Why are men being outlawed? How come we can't be with the families? Like, why do you need to be with the family? Like, why are we separated? Bro, you don't have kids or nothing. The people with kids go on this bus. Y'all go on this bus. It's a simple process. It's just like normal. I just like to make fun of stupid ideology.
Civilian Office of Police Accountability says they learned yesterday about sexual misconduct allegations involving a migrant and officers here at the 10th District. Sources tell CBS 2 as many as 4 officers here at the 10th District are involved in the alleged sexual misconduct, with at least 1 migrant housed here. Sources also saying a teenage migrant is now pregnant from an encounter with an officer. Chicago police have not confirmed this. They issued a statement saying these allegations are under investigation with CPD's Bureau of Internal Affairs and the Civilian Office of Police Accountability. Dr. Arthur Lariggio, a professor of psychology and criminology at Loyola University Chicago, said this about the allegations.
It is, at the very least, unprofessional for a police officer to have sexual contact with a migrant. With an underage migrant.
Y'all know, I wanted to pause here. I'm gonna leave this pause in because y'all know, I'm giving y'all time to get y'all jokes in it to come on the stream right here. I'm not even gonna do it. Y'all done tease y'all right there. Put them right there. Just I'm opening the scene for you right there, like right there. Just say what you gotta say. No.
That behavior has been elevated to criminal behavior.
Yes, it's criminal.
Minors cannot give consent for sexual encounters with adults.
Now, COPA says they immediately notified CPD's Bureau of Internal Affairs about the allegations, which then formally opened the investigation. At the 10th District in...
Listen. People in power doing horrible things is not unusual, and that's sad. Actually, it's actually sad that this is kind of normalized and people don't care and people won't go over it because, again, we don't see people as human beings. We don't see people as equals. They're not American and all this other stupid stuff. When you saw purely innocent children who just want to get away from whatever life they was in and just trying to get away from it, trying to live, at least get a better life. Of course, there should be rules and regulations to how it's done, but the process could always be better. Instead of we argue over stupid pointless things like, oh, immigration reform should be just all or nothing, and I'm like, why can we just can't have a fair, equal system? Give them the same thing the Europeans get when they come over. Why not? Why can't they get the same thing the Europeans get? Oh, because Europeans are from a better country, they automatically are not criminals, so they can automatically get through quicker, or what? But even for them after COVID, it's still terrible. Immigration policy is horrible in this country. Why? Because everybody, instead of actually fixing the problem, it's better to use it as a political football. To continually play, oh, they're anti-immigrant, or they're pro-immigration, and these immigrants gonna take your jobs, because if we make them citizens, that excuse doesn't fly as well. Or if we fix the problem, I can't use it against the other group, because it's all political footballs. Thank you, and like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. Let me know y'all thoughts. Power that allows, the reason I said that because it allows these power structures to happen to somebody who really don't have power finally feeling powerful. So let me know, like and subscribe, all this stuff. True, they see, I see what Ruby said that too. That right there. That's also true. Ruby, your thought.
I mean, how many times I gotta say it? Like in the last 30 days, right? This is what it is. The unfortunate thing is, and a lot of people don't seem to understand that when you have disenfranchised people preaching to the public that America is just a giant criminal enterprise, and all of its foundations are various forms of crime, people don't want to believe it, right? Because there's this like lie about the land of milk and honey and the streets are paved in gold and we are the moral authorities, right? I mean, like this is huge lie about America and none of it's true, right? And I mean, the way that you can know that is that something like this might horrify normal people, right? But the powers that be, you know why this keeps happening? Because it's normal to them. That's it. It's normal to them. That's why they fight so hard to protect their own children from everything, because they understand that they victimize any vulnerable child from anyone else's camp, right? Because they see that as prey for their using, right? I mean, let's think about it though, right? We're talking about Europeans. Well, they descend from a group of people that proudly had eunuchs, amongst other interesting practices of what they would do to children. That is just a normal rite of passage, right? So, I mean, we have to think about, sometimes, hey, there's a reason why this is happening. There's a reason why it's not getting weeded out. They don't want to weed it out. So then what? Then what do we do? Because I feel like that's the place that we're going to need to go in conversation, is to the and then what? Because until we get to and then what's changing? We're just going to hear another one of these stories by the end of the week, and then next week, and then the week after that, right? It's what it is.
It is true. Again, shout out to Sharp for this story. And I saw Michael J. White say something interesting. He said, people say Black Lives Matter. And then they came up with a slogan. Mm-hmm. And then they say, stop Asian hate, and no one fought it at all. It was no fight. And this thing said, he was like, what you think their reason is? And I thought about it. I'm like, He said, it's all about retribution. They didn't do nothing to them. Said, oh, okay, everybody else to hate them, stop it. But black people are like, oh, we did them wrong. It might be retribution if we did. And I thought, oh, man. And it seemed like even in this case, like, oh, we do horrible things. So, like Ruby said, we do horrible things. So, is it going to return back to us for what something happened? And I always thought about that, because that's always interesting thought. Like, they really didn't fight back at all on that.
No,
it wouldn't stop all hate.
It.
And I don't even know what it is. That was just an interesting thought from him, because I haven't thought about it. But
no, I don't think that's what it is. I think it's really quite simple. Is that Asian hate was coming from Black people, or basically non-white people generally, right? All the things they were talking about and all the cases they were using as an example of all this Asian hate was happening, they were highlighting predominantly Black people, but also other non-white races. So they weren't culpable. They don't care at all if anyone else is found culpable of something, as long as they are not culpable. They never stopped their Black hate, right? During all the Asian hate, they didn't really have enough energy or effort to turn to hating actively. They still had enough Black people to take all their hate out on. So for them, they were saying, well, stop the Asian hate. Well, that doesn't really change their MO. It really doesn't, right? Because the worst of the worst things that they do, they reserve for our demographic, right? So it's fine for them. Nothing changed for them. That's really what it is. It's just because we are their favorite beat up dollies. And so they'll never allow a law that prevents them from using us as their favorite beat up dollies, or say gives us, rights that they have to, respect according to the Constitution, which doesn't actually exist still to this day. Anyways, now, guys, we are moving on. And so for those people who are keeping track, I told you I have 2 shoplifting stories today. This is the second one. We will also end this with a little bit of a fog compilation. For those of you who had no idea what I was talking about with the fog security system, you're about to see it. But now let's take a look at the other side, the flip side here of why these companies may be telling you I don't even know what they're supposed to prove. That's how insane these 2 stories are. They're so conflicting. Let's take a look.
Hi, my name is Jenny. I'm a sophomore, and this is for all 3 of you. Can you say in 1 sentence or less what, you know what I mean? Can you say why America is the greatest country in the world?
Maybe things aren't quite so simple in the Scotty Eno CVS case. And maybe the public position that CVS is holding right now about what they suggest their employees do, and if there would be repercussions or not for stealing happening on their shift or whatever, maybe we are being misled. Maybe in this day and age, the companies are getting so tired of the shoplifting that they are now passing down that burden onto their employees to try to make their employees feel more culpable so that way their employees will do more to help try to stop the shrinkage issue. I don't know. But what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at this next video and maybe it's going to answer that question, because I can't even believe the title of this one. I can't even believe the title of this one. Like, what? Like, I can't even imagine. So let's take a look. Let's take a look, because I would think for sure you should be getting hero of the day. You recorded the theft. You probably have the license plate, right? This should be great. Why would you get fired for this? Let's take a look.
Video showing 3 alleged shoplifters stealing $500 worth of laundry detergent from a supermarket. And a store clerk is taping everything, even as the suspects quickly load up the getaway car.
Really, bro? You gotta resort to this? Economy's not that bad.
Seems pretty smart, right? The store employee isn't trying to physically stop the suspects. That's frowned upon by police and by big retailers. All he's doing is collecting the evidence on tape. You think he'd be praised for a job well done?
Yes, literally, yes.
Well, no. In fact, he was fired. Santino Barola says he was stunned when he was told he was getting the axe from the King Superstore in Centennial, Colorado.
The policy says no chasing, no physical deterrent, whatsoever. And I did neither of those things.
So what did he supposedly do wrong? As the suspects try to drive off, watch as the quick-thinking Barola tears away the foil covering the license plate. That action directly led to the arrest of the driver.
If he hadn't done that, it would just be another video of 3 people stealing again, like that's happening all over the United States right now.
But that doesn't matter.
Right.
Barola is still out of a job because he violated the company's policy against employees intervening during thefts.
I mean, you gotta wonder to yourself, right? I mean, you do. You really gotta wonder to yourself, though, what is the cost to the employees? I mean, sure, some employees maybe are a little bit more dedicated than others, right? But, like, they went out and decided to record this whole thing, and let's be real, none of the people in the video were even remotely bothered that they were being filmed while stealing this, right? So, like, what's the benefit to the employee doing this? Like, they want to be helpful to their job? But, like, to what end? I don't know. Let's keep watching. I don't get it.
What do you think of this store policy?
I think it's a little bit ridiculous. I get it, the liability and to not chase after them or physically deter them, which in the video I clearly did neither. I was walking, not chasing, and never did I physically touch them in any way, shape, or form.
Barola has lots of support on social media. This man should get a raise, not termination, goes one typical commentary. You think you were unfairly fired?
I believe so. Being a veteran,
I wonder if this is like, what level of policy is this? Is it like a law? Or is this like a policy that like the big box type stores enact so that way they don't get in trouble? And the reason I'm asking is because I just think about theft videos I've seen by a certain demographic of store owner against a certain demographic of shopper that, might try to shoplift something, and they always physically try to restrain and stop anyone from trying to steal their stuff. Now, so I'm just wondering, like, if it's a policy or if it's like a law or something, like why? I don't know. Okay, let's keep watching. This is weird, though, to me.
A former military police officer, I'm always going to do the right thing, especially if a crime is happening in front of me.
The supermarket says while they are unable to comment on personnel matters, they do have security measures in place to help prevent crime and de-escalate confrontations to minimize risk to their employees.
I'm just not really sure they understand what, like, those words mean, so... Okay. But... The problem is clearly getting out of hand, and they clearly do not have anything but, like, the honor code to stop people from stealing. They just don't. They don't have it, right? Shrinkage loss prevention teams are clearly not stopping or slowing down the problem. employees are clearly getting it in their heads that they've got to do something about this because it's hard for them to stand around and be, I guess, disrespected. Because I guess it feels like a disrespect to them. Which it shouldn't. If you're in retail, by the way, listen, it's no disrespect against you. In fact, they're thinking to themselves, and this is why they normally go for the big box stores, because they're not stealing from an individual, they're stealing from a multi-billion-dollar corporation, right? And so they're not trying to disrespect you or anybody. Oftentimes, we're talking about people who are below the poverty line, and who are just trying to eat. Just trying to make a buck to feed their kids or whatever it is. Just trying to make a buck to feed themselves or just trying to make a buck to feed their drug habits, right? I mean, you're not really talking about people who have a lot of time to consider you and whether or not they're disrespecting you. So I don't know. Like, clearly the message really here, though, is clear, right? And I understand what the guy was trying to do to help his company. But look what happened to Scotty Eno when he intercepted, right? There is a really good reason why they're saying don't. And it's not just because, the policy and liability. No, it's because of what could happen to literally your life. You could throw it down the drain and other people's lives down the drain. And is it worth it for a crime that might put them behind bars for 6 months? After their third or fourth offense? Like, dude, I don't know. I guess this is probably why people are investing with the fog machines, but let me know what y'all think. I mean, what do y'all think? I mean, maybe the only solution is the fog machine, which for the record is not a new thing. So the fog machine, I can see records of this fog machine thing being advertised, videos being made of it as early as 2012. So where are these fog machines, first of all, or why aren't they being used? Because it seems like maybe something went wrong or, whatever with the older companies and now they had to come up with new stuff. I don't know. But like, what do you think? Guys, this dude just filmed peaceably, didn't touch the people, didn't prevent them. They didn't seem bothered by him. All he did was move a piece of tinfoil. He didn't prevent them from evading and he lost his job. What do y'all think? I mean, what do you think, Zell? Do you think that was reasonable? Do you think it's about something else? Like, listen, what's going on?
Listen, they be fine. I don't know if they didn't like the guy, something happened, or they have like some government, they have some policy from some regional manager who just upset everybody and hate everybody. By the way, it's certain regional managers hate everyone. They hate everybody.
That's true.
Quick story, I had a night assistant manager who walked up to me because I never worked at night in Walmart. This was like 2014. Never worked nights. And this the first night the person wouldn't come in, so I had to work till like 11 instead of like my normal time at 7. And the night manager said, "Oh, so you Trevor?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she literally told me to my face, "I don't like you." And I was like, "What?" She's like, "I don't like you because everybody else like you." I'm like, "Oh, well." Well, maybe he was a popular dude and she didn't like him. I don't know why y'all like him. Listen, it's wild out here. And like I said, they tell you can't do something. They will fire you if you do any prevention or anything. You sit on the side of the little thing, they'll fire you at Walmart. So I don't know what is going on.
Well, that is absolutely true. Now, before we delve into the Fresh and Fit story, I just want to say what's up to all the people who've come out so far tonight. So I definitely know we have shout out to Don Teasy, Just Ask Shar, the Great Pill podcast. We have Mary Bell up in here. That's Mama Bell. We got Mama Rubes. Also, shout out to the two mamas in the house. We've got the cynical one. Whew, y'all, I'm going to lose track in a second. I'm trying to make sure that I have them all. I don't think I do, though. I'm missing people still. We have Just Jay. I love Just Jay. I didn't want to just skip to her, though, because she's amazing. I was like, Just Jay, cynical one is basically like my twin. And the Just Jay just brings me joy. Just literally watching her speak about anything can just bring me joy. It doesn't even matter what it is. Let's see. Oh, Mr. DJ Music. Shout out to him. My former producer, still producer, CRBJ. Listen, radio is good. If y'all like listening to radio, I need to go look up over there. Anyway, but yeah, y'all listen. Thank you so much, everyone, for taking time out of their lovely, beautiful summer to come over here and listen to us babble on for a couple of hours. Now we only have three stories remaining before our big call-in time where y'all could call in and y'all could speak your piece on any of the topics we talked about tonight or on the topic that we will be introducing for the discussion, which is about Jonah Hill. So that's coming up, guys. 3 more stories. And the very next story is, was it Fresh and Fit? Is that what's coming up next? Yeah.
They make their debut on the channel. Somehow we have avoided them for 3 months.
Entirely. It's been beautiful.
Somehow we did it. And I'm like, hey, maybe it's time for Dumb and Dumber to make their debut on the show. And I'm going to show y'all why they're Dumb and Dumber. Because I finally found it where Dumber finally had a reaction like a human being. I just found it. He had a reaction. I was shocked. I didn't know. I thought he was just a robot who just went along with Dumb to get over. But we'll find out. Watch the story and why. Watch why the first time they actually made the show. Watch. Yo, we finally hit 7,000 views. It's finally time. It's finally time. We finally get a chance to do it. What we talk about? The Dumb and Dumber crew with their 304s and all of that. It's time. It's finally time. And what did they do? Out of all the dumb stuff they do, all the ignorance they talk about, what could lead to the first video that Zell actually wants to talk about Fresh and Fit? What is the first video? What could they do? It wasn't when they say dumb things that don't make sense about women or anything else. It's not when they have dumb logic and talk like they're about to be at war at every second of the day, even though they probably live some of the most peaceful lives in here. By the way, Sneaker, I did hear your story on Destiny when you said 2 people got an altercation and Myron told the women to get behind them because he's the one who know how to use a weapon. And I'm like, that is not how that goes. If it was an altercation that would be deadly, you wouldn't just say, get behind me. Just imagine a dummy that say, hey, listen, they're shooting over there. Get behind me. I will protect you. That's stupid. No, you like, everybody get down. We're going to crawl to the door. I'm going to sit front. I'll shoot if I got to. Y'all get out. Make sure y'all safe. This ain't got nothing to do with me. But if it do got something to do with me, you have. That's how you know somebody been in a real dangerous situation versus people who like got this hero mindset in the world. That's a story Sneeko said about Myron and thing. And I'm like, that's not a realistic story. That's very stupid. But no, that wasn't it. Was it when they were pretending to be monkeys and calling black men monkeys because that's what they do. They hate black people. It wasn't when they called dark-skinned women night riders or none of that. Listen, I should have probably made a video on them. I get it. It's on me. I should have probably made a video on them. But what egregious act have they done? The egregious act is, I don't have many stories today, and they decide to let a white supremacist, self-proclaimed, say he's a little racist, according to him, Nick Fuentes, with a bunch of 304s, I think half of them is foreign. And as y'all can see, Tree of Logic, who is not the biggest fan of black people, or in a way, as a black woman. She says she is, but she's not. You gonna see how she talk. I told you white folks that they don't give about you saying the N-word. Listen, y'all know how that speech is. When y'all ever watch Real Life, you kind of understand sometimes when she talk to black people. She talked to them like she mastered. Oh, like, look at it. But she even has a problem with this because of who it is. Listen, I'm gonna let y'all listen. I'm talking way too much. Let's get to it.
Well, bro, you can say it.
Say it. Come on, man. I want you to say it.
For real.
I
want to hear. What you got?
You want me to say it?
Yes. Say it.
Is anyone going to hit me if I say it?
Let's go. 2 hours.
For y'all that don't know it, y'all know what they wanted to say. They trying to make a statement. Listen, this for all y'all conspiracy theory, this seems like a statement to me. They trying to weaken your power. Again, we just got rid of affirmative action. Now the white supremacists can say the N-word, apparently. And it's been encouraged. I told y'all, see y'all, it's y'all fault. Don't blame me. I've been telling y'all. Since 2018. Oh, he just trying to cause trouble. Everything I said is real.
Come on, Nick. What you got?
All right, nigger.
He didn't even say the A. He didn't even say the A. He said And they just support. Look at this clan. Look at Dumber. Look at Dumb over there. Dumber over here. I don't expect Dumber to even think because he don't have a brain. Dumb over there, he got an objective. All right, let's see what else Tree Logic got to say. Again, not the biggest fan of black people. She's not. Here's another clip of Nick referring to one of the cookie makers sitting at the table as. Now, she does hate these 3 or 4 women, more so probably in the black community, but again, they are pookie makers. I do agree with her on that, though. Look at that. Why? He seemed real happy around the weird black people. I'm just saying. Listen, I'm just telling y'all. It's a reason he very comfortable around here. Not to be out there admiring from Fresh and Fit Podcast. Put his favorite. Oh, let's go. Let's see what he do. Because I didn't even watch this one yet. I seen the other 2. Let's see what this one is.
See you. I don't know
Y'all, look, you see, y'all see this comment, by the way? First off, that's made up. He did never admit it was a lie. He said a myth. And Tommy Soul is a self-hating black man, by the way. If y'all don't know who Tommy Soul is. But look at this. None of the whole thing is not true. I just want y'all to get a look. Y'all see what's going on. I want y'all to get the idea of the people that these people are generating. This is like the new form of Candace Owens to me. Like, I just figured it out. It's like a new form of Candace Owens. It's like, instead of just fighting with black people, let's just make white people clearly comfortable. Let's just do it. Let's make white people clearly comfortable. Let's just put the most incelic people. Let's put the most desperate for views, want to go viral black people on a panel. We're not putting educated people. And I'm not dissing none of these women. I'm just being honest. If you were really about that, you wouldn't go on this show. I've been on this for like a week. That if you want to stop giving people power, you stop talking about it. Just Pearly Things would be irrelevant. Her YouTube show is absolutely terrible to watch. Just watch one of her. Don't watch H3H3. Don't watch this person. Don't watch Destiny. Watch her show without any of the crazy guests who creates controversy and just watch. It is absolutely horrible. But if you go on her channel, and I might do this at the end, all the videos about her are from somebody else or with a crazy guest like H3H3 or Dick Fuentes or somebody like that. She literally has to milk off everybody else hating her. Like, she would literally go away because her content is bad. This man, if y'all stop inviting him, he would go away. Sneeko bring him, Destiny Sneeko bring him back, and now he's on Fresh and Fit. Why would he go on this page with all these black people as a white supremacist? Ain't nothing but black people. Why would he go? Why would he be smiling like that? Think about it. It keeps him relevant. It keeps everybody relevant. That's everything. Everything is relevant. If you stop talking about Nick Fuentes and stop caring, which you can put it on me, but listen, this not about me. I'm gonna defeat y'all argument against me that I just made against myself, probably. Let me do it right now. Let me do it. Those people that watch this ain't gonna watch me. I don't do the shit. Like, they not gonna sit here and be introduced to this. The first introduction to this is probably gonna be right now. So hello, how you doing? I'm Zelmay. I'm trying to improve your life a little bit better. Hopefully you like and subscribe. Like that notification bell, because I am going to improve your life, actually. But not actually telling you how to improve your life, because I don't know you. I don't know your skills. I don't know who you are. I don't know where you live. I don't know your education. I don't know nothing about you. But I'm going to tell you basic human behavior that you probably should do through news and this, which is all clout. But if you want clout, like I said, a mark is a mark, so I don't know what to say about you.
How do you find that?
What is the point, Myron? What is the point?
Bro, we're finished, bro. We're finished.
Y'all are getting fucking canceled.
I heard somebody
What's the
said
point?
magic
Why
word.
don't you just when we come on the podcast?
Magic word 3 times?
What's the point, Myron?
Listen, man.
Yeah,
Myron.
What's the point?
Myron.
I need to know.
I am not in agreement with this.
What is the
I don't
point?
agree with this.
What's the point? Hey, man, I heard somebody else saying the
Listen, I want y'all to understand. Did y'all see what Dumber realizes? Y'all see Dumber? Look at Dumber's face. Dumber's like, yo, if I wasn't making money, I wouldn't be doing this. This is Dumber. Dumber can't think for himself. This Dumb right here. Dumb know what he's doing. Dumber don't know nothing. Dumb just for clout. Dumber gets clout from Dumb. So look at Dumber's face right here. Look at him. Look how he's staring at him like listen what he said.
I don't agree with this.
What's the point? Hey, man, I heard somebody else saying the magic word, bro. Yeah,
And y'all just recording it.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Can you take it off though?
Oh, now y'all uncomfortable, huh? Y'all more uncomfortable when he bring out the white hood, huh? Y'all wasn't upset when the dude who claimed he don't like black people, and you're if you date black people, you are ruining the race. Y'all don't be uncomfortable. Now all y'all uncomfortable. Oh, the weird black dude that hate black people, y'all all uncomfortable now. Y'all done went on this show. Look at her face. Look, okay, all right.
Yeah.
It's disrespecting.
All right.
Keep it on.
We're
Let
gonna rumble,
everybody
ninjas.
see.
All right.
Thanks.
Look, everybody's uncomfortable now. Y'all was laughing and giggling when this is what people like. We don't like intelligent conversation, though. We don't like. Listen, my brother taught me young people are stupid. They'll do anything for clout. It's an attention-seeking world. I had a situation we're gonna probably bring up today in Jonah Hill, in which that person would never posted the text if they wasn't gonna get thousands and millions of looks. Everything's about clout. If you start denying these people attention, if these women never come on this show, this podcast dies. But they gonna come, why? Because they get attention. They get something out of it. They get looks. They might have an OnlyFans. They might have some sugar daddy that won't take care of them. Something like that. They'll get something out of it. That's why they show up. Because if they don't, this show dies because they have no substance. And I know somebody gonna argue me, well, my real estate business sucks, so I could have did this. Most of you niggas can't afford real estate. Shout out to the one person that can. And maybe listen to advice and get good advice from it. But let's be honest, those videos get what, 10,000 views versus these to get 100,000? Like, you can't compare somebody that nobody cares about, which apparently y'all don't, because when they talk real estate, which they might be good at, they get 8,000 views, 10,000, 12,000. But when they do this, they get 200,000 when they have these little antsy conversations. And then you want me to overlook it, but you don't listen to the good they do, because you don't listen to the good they do. Maybe you do. Maybe you wanted 8,000. But 10 times as many people don't. So what in the world should I care about it? As again, you see this comment is what they attract. I just want y'all to know. Shout out to y'all Fresh and Fit finally making I'll Be That news. Look at y'all. Look at y'all. It took this. It took this right there. It took that. This is the second time doing it, but he did it in front of a white supremacist. It took that. They probably gonna shadow ban this video. But listen, they ain't me. YouTube, y'all let them thrive. It's y'all. Don't blame me. Blame y'all. This on y'all station. They private it, but it's y'all. Like and subscribe, all that, hit that notification bell. Peace. Listen. I said what I had to say about, hey, Dumb and Dumber do Dumb and Dumber thing. Dumber don't have a brain, but Dumber was upset when Dumb was like, I don't agree with this. Oh, Dumber had a brain, Ruben. Dumber had an opinion. I've never seen Dumber with an opinion before. You ever seen Dumber?
He always has, yes, absolutely. It's just, if you give him any kind of pushback, he'll cave. And that's the thing that just wasn't tested. So it almost looks like he was standing on his own, but he wasn't. It's just he didn't get that pushback for him, because he'll go, like, it doesn't matter who it is, right? He will agree with the 304s he hates so much, right? He will turn around and tell them, that's true, you're right, but, and then still say his opinion. And even if it's wrong, but he'll first have to tell them, like, oh, they're right? Because he's basically an omega male, right? So he knows he has to be ingratiating to everyone because everyone is above him. So that's the way I see him. Like, no, he didn't magically grow a set or anything crazy, first of all. Second of all of them worship, well, Nick Fuentes. Why? Because Nick Fuentes has accomplished something that they can't. First of all, Nick Fuentes is white passing, right? That's important to people who worship whiteness and literally hate their own kind. The second thing is that Nick is like pathologically racist, and like it's okay, like he can't help himself, and they love it. They love it so much. They want so badly to be Nick Fuentes. That's what they want. They want in their lives to be a Nick Fuentes. They wish to God they could wake up in the morning with their white skin, okay, so they could be white passing, okay, and then they could go out there, they could hang out with the white boys crowd, or at least one of them wants to replace Ali Alexander in the group, right? That's what they want. They want to be part of like the Ali Alexander, Nick Fuentes, and Milo Yiannopoulos group. They want to be part of that group, okay? Which is a bunch of gay boys who also are predators in their spare time. Let's not, and listen, I'm not talking out of turn. We did the Ali Alexander story, okay? We did the Ali Alexander story. And I'm telling you, there's literally no way that all three of those dudes were not doing the same thing. We have full-on evidence about 2 out of 3. And Milo's saying he's going to come out with evidence about Nick. So we're waiting on the evidence still. But let's be real. They're all best friends, and birds of a feather flock together, okay? So, you know, Nick says all kinds of outrageous stuff, right? He says the N-word, he says the R-word, he says all kinds of words. But why does he say those words, right? He says those words so that way he can what? He can deflect from himself. That's all it is. He's just deflecting from himself. Sorry. I know. It seems like maybe that's not what it would be, but he is just deflecting from himself, okay? And when he gets caught in all of this, and he will, then he can turn around and he can go, no, he can do the same thing Andrew Tate's doing, basically, right? I'm innocent. They just made up all these allegations about how many children I've bothered.
Hey, listen, I don't know what they told Andrew Tate in jail, but that man said he ain't talking about certain topics about a certain group of people no more. He ain't talking about women. He only talking about male empowerment. He ain't doing none of that no more. So I don't know what they told him in that prison, but he ain't talked about them since he got out. I'm like, uh-oh. I thought you was gonna get talked down by the Matrix. And Tristan Tate and this Nico and told him, oh no, we ain't talking about that stupid stuff no more. Worry about yourself. I'm like, oh. I don't know what they told you, but my man got the act right. We only talking to young men. We don't talk about women. Dating, we're too old to talk about dating. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh, and okay, for the record, okay, so cynical one, no. So Nick Fuentes, okay, he was in this group of 3 people, Nick Fuentes, Ali Alexander, and Milo Yiannopoulos, right? And then basically, when the Kanye campaign, right, for president started, Nick Fuentes got tapped and brought Ali Alexander with him, not Milo. So Milo decided to start dropping tea. And so Milo dropped the tea on Ali Alexander about Ali Alexander being a predator and using Milo's name to get his predatory stuff. Like, he was dropping tea left, right, and center. And then he's basically making the threats like, y'all better start appeasing me or I'm going to ruin you too, Nick. That's what was happening, okay? Now, if we're talking about Amru Foodle, okay, and Walter Weeks, because they both have real names. I don't know why no one knows what Walter Weeks' name is. He was on his Little Loser show also, where he failed miserably at being efficient at business, but whatever. But yeah, no, they tell on themselves about the fact that they like teenagers, right? That's literally what they talk about constantly, never endingly. Is that like once you're over the age of like 21, you're already near damaged goods. So what does that tell you? Like, you think that they're just staying between the ages of 18 and 21? Like, and like, no, come on, let's be real. Like, I'm sorry.
I did say that in that video, the first video, like how a lot of these people talk about youth. I'm like, y'all getting real close to talking about some craziness. I'm just saying, y'all get real close to talking about.
Dude, I am saying, you know what? I will make sure when you release the video of this, the single, make sure that we put the link to the Ali Alexander story to it, so that way Cynical One and anyone else who wants to know can double check, right? Fact check us, because I'm telling you, I'm not making it up. I covered the story, y'all. I did.
And by the way, I want y'all to know the first episode we ever did, I did talk about that first guy, the scammer named Tate, and he said some strange things. And now you seeing these two dudes, and once that he don't even like. I remember he was talking to Adam 22, and he said like, "See, disgusting." I was like, "What? What? Sir, are you a straight man? What?" But
yeah, no, and it is. I think that's the thing, right? It's like I technically agreed with Andrew Tate I agreed with that. With his sentiment, though, so right, but you have to look at everything in context. All of it together. And when people seem like they hate women and also tell you that you'd be really gay for sleeping with an ugly woman, but wouldn't be gay at all for sleeping with a pre-op trans person, I mean, like, it's weird that that's the messaging that you're sending. Like, why would you send the messaging to these guys that they would be gay for sleeping with an ugly woman? Do you see what I'm saying? But not gay. Like, I don't know. I'm just saying, again, this is why we got into the trans vaccine thing to begin with. It's starting to get messy, y'all. Starting to get messy. I'm moving off this subject. We are going to go, okay? So now we only have, 2 stories until we get to Jonah Hill. And so first, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about Karen. Okay? Now, most of y'all have probably heard about this Karen, okay? She came out 5 days ago, maybe, or whatever. So I've probably heard about this Karen, okay? You probably have. However, and this is an important note, we now have an update, okay? And the Lizard King himself, according to Karen, speaks out. So, of course, first we are going to listen to my very favorite intro ever.
Calling me Karen cause I make them nervous. Oh, fine, call me that, I'm Karen about good service. I'd like to speak to the manager. I'd like to speak to the manager.
And by the way, y'all, don't forget that, when the call-ins happen and after this and the next one, and then it's the call-in time, y'all can always call in and we can keep talking about this mess also, or the Jonah Hill one, or anything else. So just remember that, okay? I'm not just moving forward, be silencing you all. It's just, we got to get to the call-ins. Okay, so now this is, I call her the Lizard Karen because, well, we could say reptilian, but that almost legitimizes her insanity. So let's not do that, okay? And she's on a plane. Let's see.
And there's a reason why I'm getting the off in everyone. Can either believe it or they cannot believe it. I don't give two but I am telling you right now, that back there is not real.
All right, so the internet has heard the story of the woman on the plane with the reptilians. But thanks to her delaying the flight, I just got home, so now it's my opportunity to tell my side of the story as the guy in the hoodie. So we're attempting to fly out of Dallas, Fort Worth, and then basically this woman, she sits next to me and she's clearly been drinking. I'm minding my own business, and sure enough, she sees my hoodie that has this Freemason logo on it. And on top of that, she noticed my ring, so she started to ask questions. Nothing dramatic, just asked me, do I know what these symbols mean? Why am I wearing it? What's the purpose? Yada, yada, yada. And long story short, I basically just say, hey, I'm a Freemason. I even briefly explained how I educate about Freemasonry here on TikTok. Next thing I know.
Oh boy. Okay, I don't know why it is that Freemasons have gotten this rap. I actually don't know why it is. I know a couple of people who are Masons, right? I met them in college and whatever. And so like it's like a fraternity, right? Like it's an organization that like not anyone can join, but like people really believe like Freemasons rule the galaxy and stuff. Like I used to hear that like in cartoons and whatever, right? And it seems as though, yeah, like that's what it is. Like people buy into these things so fully, right? Like these flat earthers and stuff, they buy into these conspiracies, into the Illuminati, into the Freemasons, into whatever, to the point where I think it's more than just triggering them. I think there's a whole pathology behind it. That's like this woman was out of her mind with fear.
I know she basically starts to grill me about low-level Freemason and that it's all Satanism and that it's ruled by reptilians and blah, blah, blah. So I simply put my hood up and I started to ignore her and basically just mind
Yes, we can all thank David Icke for the lizard people. Okay.
my own business. She starts getting louder and louder, and then basically she's like, you know that they worship Lucifer at the top, right? So I looked at her dead in her eyes and I said, I am Lucifer.
Oh my
I heard
God!
one individual laugh behind me, so I figured somebody got a kick out of it at least.
Bro.
She starts running up and down the aisles, freaking out, saying I'm a reptilian, and then all this other stuff. She's going to get off the plane, yada, yada, yada. It doesn't show all the footage. It just says that she's trying to get off the plane because of, I'm not going to say it here on TikTok. I don't want to get banned. But then also talking about how, like, I'm secretly also trying to take over the world. So I look back at the guy that was basically...
This jerk's whole... Okay. So no. So the Masons, there's a bunch of different sects of Masons, cynical one, right? And so they're supposedly is what they say. Basically, all of these different sects of Masonry have different levels of, say, exclusivity, right? And then the higher up you go, the more exclusive even that level is, as far as you getting to know who the other sects are. And I'm trying to say SECTS, okay, sects. And so apparently now, right, there's the secret Freemasons that rule the galaxy. They're at the top of 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 the top. No one can name them except for the people who are them, right? Conspiracy. It's just like, who are the Illuminati? Illuminati rule the galaxy, right? But like, who are they? They're not, it's not an actual individual group, but some people really believe that there's like this group. They meet underneath Manhattan, right? And they rule the galaxy from underneath Manhattan. Like people, like they take like what the reality is, which that 1%ers do run the galaxy, and then it becomes like this tangible thing, kind of in the way that people make God tangible so they can understand it. That's really what it is. So the Freemasons are not as secret as people like to think they are. Okay.
chuckling before, and I winked at him. So I basically whispered something under my breath saying that Freemasons don't care to rule the world, we rule the universe. And I looked back at the guy that was laughing before and just kind of winked at him because he started laughing again. Well, I didn't think that she could hear me, but evidently she did, and it actually escalated it even further, and then they delayed the flight, and so on and so forth. So moral of the story, don't believe everything you hear on the internet. And Freemasons don't care to rule the world when we rule the universe.
Like he just made it worse.
Calling me Karen cause I make them nervous. Well, fine, call me that, I'm Karen about good service. I'd like to speak to the manager. I'd like to speak to the manager.
Okay, y'all all know I really like that theme song a little too much. However, okay, bro, Karen, because everyone is sitting there, right, and going after people who went after the story, and they're like, no, she's probably having a psychotic break, and how dare you make fun of her and call her a Karen? Because she's a Karen. Because some jackass kid sitting next to her started lying to her about some nonsense, and she decided that she needed to get herself in a tizzy because she wanted off this plane immediately. That's a Karen move, y'all. This is not a psychosis thing. She's not schizophrenic. She's not whatever, okay? She is a demanding Karen who believes in way too much flat earth nonsense because she was one of the many kids who fall through the cracks and don't understand even like basic science, basic geography, basic humanities. And so therefore they fill it all in with a bunch of nonsense and foolishness. What do you think, Zal?
Listen, just be careful with them because she appeared to be a little tipsy too. At the same time, I know that.
Oh yeah, she was wasted.
Yeah. I know at least tips. Cause I know if you be around them, I'm telling you, they start doing that little point, and then you in trouble. Especially you're a black man. When they do that point, they usually do that for the police, or they finna set you up. I'm just warning. I haven't seen it. Shout out to all my friends who showed up at the last minute because the police were coming. Like, I'm like, hey, we cool. I don't know you. And then they point. Then all of a sudden the police show up. Shout out to all my friends, girls who came out and then like, hey, oh, that ain't you. And then they found my friend Smiley and took him to jail.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and by the way,
because she didn't know who it was, Ruby. She just said a black man. She couldn't describe him, so they just found a random 2 black dudes who was up there, and they found my friend Smiley and arrested him.
Now, for the record, because I totally did not put it in to the video, but I will. I promise I will when I release the Karen, if I actually release the Karen. I promise I'll put it in there somewhere, though. But shout out, guys. This was a submission from a user. Thank you very much, Don TC. All right. Yeah, no, I'm the worst. I only remembered because you actually literally wrote it in the chat. And if I didn't...
Also, Rosalind did also put that in the email. I read that.
Rosalind also emailed. See, I didn't even get that far back in the emails. Last week, I was busy, y'all. I was doing the retreat on the weekend. I didn't have a lot of time. So, okay, shout out to both Rosalind and to Don Teasy. Thank you very much, y'all. Yeah, this was great, though. Wasn't this great and informative? Okay, so one more stop along our way to the Jonah Hill and Collins show. What do we got?
Yeah, we got one more story. By the way, remember... she's somehow missing, even though I asked the guy on Twitter, what's her name and how do you know she's missing? He's like, I don't know. Something like, I don't know how you find someone that you don't know is missing. She probably just at her home. So shout out to Twitter for being weird. But the last story is given to us by Shar, another story from Shar, because this story is actually hilarious. I think we need to laugh. And have you ever seen somebody that's just not intimidating at all when they try to rob you? Let's go see. Dummy. What's that, man? It's Sam Man. Of course, y'all know who I am, but you also know that we need to laugh. There's too much sad news, stupidity, dumbness, ignorance, a bunch of people yelling at each other that you don't care about. But then you need some laughs. You need some Karens. You need this dude from Atlanta who tried to rob a nail salon and he was very unsuccessful. And sometimes you need it in life. You need to take a break from all the modern men, modern women debate and the misogyny and insecurities of everybody in the world. And you just need to take a break from it and watch just an idiot try to prove something and no one fear him at all. So let's watch. You see him coming through the window. He's coming in.
Everybody get down! Give me all your money!
As y'all can see, this man is probably the least intimidating human being I've ever seen. Normally, you see a black man with a cap backwards. His shirt is too small. It's like fitting. You don't believe in that. You know what I'm saying? The hood dude, especially like 30-year-old hood dudes, do not wear a form-fitting shirt. It's usually way too big. His shoes are poor. He probably doesn't. Look, them are not Nike Jordan. They're not Jordans. You didn't rob nobody for them, sir. We don't believe in you, bro. They don't believe it. They're like, this dude looks too well kept. He has a gun hidden in the bag instead of his shirt. But sometimes you can do the shirt because you don't want to caught on camera. But there's a lot of issues with this so far. We're only 7 seconds in that I've seen. But why the people don't fear this man. Give me all your money. And they just stare at him. Listen, how unintimidating are you that you say, give me all your money, and the kid, it's a kid over there, and he just like, who are you talking to? Look at him, he's right in the far in the corner, you see him? They literally don't care that this man is threatening them. How unintimidating. Look, the man is over here. I don't know if y'all can see it. The man is over here just still working. This man is trying to rob your store. And the man is like, yo, I got stuff to do today. This is actually embarrassing.
Yeah! Where's the money?
Get down, where's the money? And the dude just stares at him. Look, I don't know if y'all can't see, but look, he's just staring at him right now. There you go, look, he's just staring at him. Like, who are you, sir? Look, this lady's finally gonna have like some emotion right here. She's gonna finally do something. Watch this. Oh, let me just get on this side. Oh, I'm sorry, my bad, sir.
Everybody give me everything.
Is she opening the door for you?
Where's the money?
So you want to get out? Here, I'm opening the door for you. out to Shar again for this story. Look. Give me your money. He gonna try it one more time. We gotta replay it all day. Watch it. Give me your money.
Where's the money?
Where's the money? Hey, look, she ain't gonna respond. She's like, I don't know where the money is.
Where's the money?
I don't know. Look, he just looks around. And he just walks off. Did you have money? I didn't even see that part. Then he asked outside, you got some, I ain't got no money. Listen, either he ran into he's the most unintimidated man in the world, or everybody at this salon is broke and they don't care. That's it. They all broke and don't care. That could be a case. They could all just silly be here and be like, yo, listen, I ain't got the money, dog. I don't know where you gonna get it from trying to rob me, but I ain't got it. I don't know who you talking to or none of that. I ain't got it. I ain't got it. It ain't me. I ain't got it. You got it, dog. He did. The woman in the blues, the little nurse, little lady, she's like, where the money? She's like, how intimidating or a lack of intimidation do you have to have where people be like, give me your money with a gun in a fake bag, and they just be like, I don't know where the money. Where's the money? I said, sir, when you rob them, let me know. And you don't want to rob me, so hit that like and subscribe button, hit that notification bell, all that stuff. I do appreciate y'all for watching, having a good laugh with me at this dude who's completely, I don't know. Jesus. I have personally never seen someone so unintimidating in my life that somebody like, where your money? She like, the kid was playing the game. I don't know if y'all can see it good, but he was playing the game and the dude said, where the money? He looked at him over there and started back playing the game. That is embarrassing. He walked out so sad, Ruben. I felt bad. I like, y'all should donate. You should make a GoFundMe.
Listen, this actually happens a lot more than people think it does, right? And there's a lot of people who just they never report these types of non-crime crimes, right? The non-starter crimes, but it actually happens a lot. If you keep an eye out for like funny things and whatever, it happens a lot. Like there's just a lot of ineffectual criminals, right? And you know, they're kind of put up to it by someone or something or whatever, and then they try and, you know, they know. Like you can look at, if you own a store in a particular type of neighborhood, you know when someone's willing to use whatever weapon they've got. You know it. You could see it in their eyes. You become accustomed to the hood, you know. And you know the ones that won't. That's just what it is. If I don't believe you're going to hurt me.
One woman had a little bit of insecurity that she wasn't sure. She was like, should I leave? All right, maybe I'm going to go outside. And then he walked out and said, give me some money. And she was like, I don't have any. And then he just walked away. And Sean's right, by the way.
That's what I'm saying.
He could have at least took something. He took nothing. They like nail polish and stuff just randomly out there. He didn't take nothing. Hey, just give me this computer monitor. Give me this. Ain't nobody got no money. Just give me this. He walked out with
ineffectual robbers. I'm telling you, like people know. They can look you in your eyes and go, "You're not gonna do nothing." Nope, you're not. You're just not gonna do it. I'm not scared. I don't care. You're not gonna do anything about it. So, oh well. And that's what happened. Sorry, it did. Seem like they'll mean it next time. Like I don't know how to. I'm not trying to help the criminals, but I'm just saying.
I felt so bad when he walked out with his head down.
Get a job. I don't. Because if you're not a criminal, then just get a job, right? Like if you're not going to be a good criminal, like it's like if you're not going to be a good gangster, right? Because no one will ever believe you because you'll never pull your weapon, you'll never use it. Don't be a gangster. Go get a job like normal people. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not for everybody. Sorry, I don't. Yeah, no.
He walked down with his head down, so sad. It was
right. See, look, even Char's coming up with stuff she would have at least taken, right? And I'm gonna be real with y'all. I've taken more from the hospital when I've been in the emergency room. You know what I mean? They got like, there's free gloves. Sometimes there's free. Back in the days, you used to have good pajamas, man. They have like full on pajama tops and bottoms. You take your pajama bottoms and top. You take your robe. You know what I mean? I've taken mad stuff from the emergency room in the hospital. Real talk. Or like the hotel or whatever. You're trying to tell me that this dude walked out of there with less than I would have taken from the hotel or from the emergency room. And I wasn't like a criminal at the time. It's just like, I got told like a lot of people did. Or if they didn't want you to take it, they wouldn't leave it out like that, right? But I mean, like, still, it's like, dude, if you took less than that, then you're not a criminal. You don't get to count. Sorry, that's
What are y'all robbing? Let me know what y'all take from the hotel or hospital or something. Y'all got, like, oh, this is some. Now, if you took some tiles, now you a little reckless, but I can see it. The little tiles be there. I'd be thinking it's a little hard, so I don't need that. But,
right. So I'm saying, yo, listen, them married folk, them people who clean hotels, they need to stop leaving that whole entire thing with them. They need to stop leaving that in the hallway. You are inviting me to take it. Like, you're inviting. It's not my fault. I don't even want to use your stupid shampoo or conditioner, but I can't not take it. It's you invited me to take this free stuff. Like, that's just what it is. Now, Joseph Jones says, how do they know he wasn't going to do nothing? Because you can see it in someone's eyes. I mean, you can see it in someone's eyes if they're going to really hit you or not, or if they have it in them, they have that level of violence, if they have that level of desperation, if they have that level of whatever. You can see it in someone's eyes. If they have that weapon there as like a defense mechanism so you don't hurt them, or if they have it because they might need to use it on you and they might actually use it on you. You can see it. You can literally look inside of someone's eyes and see you don't have this in you.
Yeah,
you don't have to have a big conversation. You can just see it.
This guy, he had his voice wavered. He wasn't so nervous because he basically, in his mind before he even went, he was like, oh, if they don't give me, then I'm going to leave. You can sense it too, because he didn't, like, normally if somebody like, I'm finna do something record, they get a little nervous. Or they just straight killers, and you don't want to do it. If he a straight killer, he had like his eyes dead, and like, yo, I will kill everybody in here, y'all. You're like, oh, he for real. His eyes just dead. You're like, yo, I done did it before. Or you got the real nervous dude who gonna do it because he's desperate. And he dangerous too now. You can't, because the desperate dude, man, like, oh, I got to feed my kids today, and I ain't got nothing. Oh, he'll do it too. Enemies necessary, John Q style. But that dude, his clothes were pressed too well.
Yeah, this is the thing. Not everyone has nothing to lose. If you have something to lose, it's a lot harder for you to make stupid decisions. And if you're not desperate, it's a lot harder for you to make stupid decisions. That's why I said, that's why there's the two factors. You have to be desperate enough or like vicious enough. And if you're not one of those two things, you're just not going to do it. So
he just did like the first time you say it, people look and they give you attention. And then he looked like he wasn't like at that point. And then they're like, oh, he ain't for real. That little kid even looked, when an 8-year-old, and they were white people too, so they don't even, it ain't like they were born it. They just had that sense too. Like, oh, he ain't dangerous. The one lady looked like she was she was a little weird though. She walked out that door. I'm just saying she walked out. But she wasn't fully nervous. She was like, I just didn't get it. I think I heard over the internet, hey, dumb.
Facts. That is it. That is straight facts. That is straight facts. Told you, listen, we told y'all we had some good stories for today. Now, y'all, are y'all ready? Are y'all ready to rock? No, I'm kidding. But are we really ready for the discussion portion of tonight's day? Okay? Because, yeah. Now, you will see, because I put an intro on this one. And I put the intro on this one so that way you can know right at the very beginning, before I even open my mouth, what my position is. Are you ready, Zal?
Yeah, let's get to it.
All right, let's go. Oh, really? I swear to God, I pressed it.
Then for years you've been hanging in.
This is not my fault. No. You're ruining my day. So what we're going to do is we're going to pause because... No, I know, but it's not fair. I had it buffered up. Okay, I don't make this mistake, and it decided that it was gonna mess with me. It's cool though. It's cool. Listen, it's buffered up enough. We're gonna try it again. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. This is Char's song, y'all. For those of you who don't know, this is Char's song, and I love this song. Like, I think this song is just amazing. Okay.
Years you've been hanging in these shooting streets. Congratulations, you just earned your bachelor's degree. You wanna clap them cheeks? You wanna clap them cheeks?
Jonah Hill's ex-girlfriend Sarah Brady accuses the star of emotional abuse during their relationship. On July 6th, the 26-year-old California surfer posted a professional photo of herself wearing a white crop top and miniskirt to her Instagram, writing, quote, reviving a pic I took down by request of a misogynist narcissist. The next day, Sarah, who dated Jonah between 2021 and 2022, opens up on her Instagram story, writing, someone being an emotionally abusive partner doesn't mean they're a terrible person, often stems from their own trauma. And at the same time, it doesn't mean it's okay. She follows up with several screenshots from past alleged conversations with the actor, including one in which he allegedly asked her to remove photos of herself surfing in a swimsuit from her Instagram, which...
So now, if y'all can't see, I love this. I love this because we finally have a real world example of what they talk about all the time in these streets, right? They talk about all the time in these streets. A successful man, a high value man, this man, or that man. Well, he wouldn't want this. He wouldn't want that. He wouldn't tolerate this. He wouldn't tolerate that, right? We hear it all the time. So I love this story because we finally get to see a real world example of somebody who's actually rich and famous enough that if they did something like this, we can say, hey, you're the demographic they say that, you know, that does this and this is normal, which should tell you in and of itself that it's not normal if this is like the first time we're hearing of it. But anyway, I digress. So far, so good, right? Okay, let's go.
We also have Shaw with us right now. I don't know if
she says she did. In another screenshot, Sarah shares an...
Do we really? I'm sorry, listen, I can't see that screen. I'm playing the video. Shaw, what's up, girl? How you doing? Okay, can she not hear me?
Hello, how
Yeah,
are
she
you?
can hear you.
Greetings.
Oh,
We are here. How you doing today, Shaw?
Greetings.
Greetings.
oh, she can't hear. Oh, can you hear us?
You can hear us, right?
I can hear
I can
you.
hear.
She can hear us.
But I think
Okay,
you
good.
can't hear me say greetings.
Greetings, Shaw.
Greetings.
A little bit?
A little, no.
Okay,
Yes?
you hear me. Okay, good deal.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
That was some struggle. Okay, so Sharp, before we keep playing the video, did you have anything you wanted to say right at the beginning?
I see white people.
Yeah, that's about accurate. Okay. So we going back from the pasty white ass and yeah, okay. Okay.
An alleged text exchange between the former couple in which Jonah allegedly told her, plain and simple, if you need surfing with men, boundaryless inappropriate friendships with men, to model, to post pictures of yourself in a bathing suit, to post sexual pictures, friendships with women who are in unstable places, and from your wild recent past, beyond getting a lunch or coffee or something respectful, I am not the right partner for you. E-News has reached out to Jonah's reps for comment and has not yet heard back. At the time of the alleged conversation, Sarah responded that she understood and accepted Jonah's boundaries. However, Sarah reflects in her Instagram story, quote, "This is high-key so embarrassing. I did this all in the name of protecting him from crippling anxiety." The pro surfer also posted a screenshot of a car.
Did you hear that? Hold on. Let's just go back. No, because the thing is, right? We were told, I've been told multiple times that this idea that these men would literally want to date the woman that is posting these pictures of herself in her profession, by the way, on the internet, right? And then once they're dating her, would start demanding that she pulls all those photos down and she never wears it, never does anything and whatever. That's just because that's how high value men are. That's disrespect. But like literally, she said no, it was to help him with crippling anxiety. Crippling anxiety. And, you know, she didn't write it in there, but, you know, it's probably based on the crippling insecurity that he feels, right? Because of his own trauma. Now, I'm not just adding that in out of nowhere because she does reference it, right? That this is coming from his own trauma. It's not that he's she even says, it's not that I'm saying he's a horrible person. I'm saying that he's been traumatized. What do you think so far?
I personally think it's strange because if I'm being honest, his demands are like very weird and specific, but he's probably been, Jonah Hill's been like, wasn't he like a teenage like celebrity and stuff? So he probably used to having his way.
Well, like, yes, but remember that, like, to me at least, he only really gained fame because of my favorite movie on earth, Superbad. But he gained fame for being a loser, right? Like a fat loser. Like that's his role, was the fat loser wannabe. And that's what he basically played throughout the 2000s, right? Was the fat loser wannabe. And I remember him talking about it and saying, like, It was basically typecast for him. Like he wasn't really acting. He wasn't doing something different. He was just being himself. Right. Same thing with Michael Cera. So, you know, I can imagine that probably wouldn't be great for your self-esteem. You know what I mean? Being only seen as like the tight, the fat loser guy, sort of. So I don't know. Char, you got anything, Char? No? Okay. We will continue on.
Nothing.
Oh, okay. Don't worry about it. All of these text messages, I have them later on, right? So we can read them ourselves and, go into more depth. So don't worry about it. If you think of something later, we will, I can't believe you touched the mic. We will be going through it again. So. All right.
The pro surfer also posted a screenshot of a conversation with a friend describing the alleged, quote, psychological abuse she endured, writing in part, having been recently diagnosed with bipolar type 1 disorder, towards the end of the relationship, when he was running out of ways to manipulate me, he started questioning my sanity and my medications. Sarah says that she decided to speak out about Jonah now because keeping it to myself was causing more damage to my mental health than sharing it could ever do. She added, it's been a year of healing and growth, with the help of loved ones and doctors, to get back to living my life without guilt, shame, and self-judgment for things as small as surfing in a swimsuit rather than a more conservative wetsuit. Sarah later shares a message for Jonah, who welcomed a baby with girlfriend Olivia Miller earlier this year, writing, I hope my ex has a daughter. Maybe she'll turn him into a real feminist. She continues, because the fact that he calls himself a feminist now is laughable.
Now, a lot of people have given Sarah Brady a lot of, so we say guff. We'll say guff. I like guff. Guff is a good word. They've given her a lot of guff because they've said, hey, like, listen, him and his new girlfriend just had a baby. Like, how dare you? How dare you do this now to her? Okay, so I'm going to show you what her answer is to that, because she did respond. Okay, and she said, basically, we don't even have to go like really deep into it. She said, I waited until she had the baby so I knew they were not physically impacted. Okay, and so you have to remember that she was dating Jonah Hill until literally last year, like 2022. It's not like they broke up years and years and years ago, right? And so, and then she had to go through, like, she was broken down, with a new diagnosis of bipolar 1, and she was broken down mentally and emotionally by someone who was very, abusive and manipulative, right? So she had to take some healing. And then when she was done that, man was already in a full-blown relationship with a full-blown pregnant girlfriend. When was she supposed to say something? Right? So people are not like kind of computing the dates. And so she didn't want to bring this information up, especially if she didn't know, like, is the new girlfriend also being treated this way? Right? And what kind of bad backlash would Jonah Hill give the new girlfriend if, the new girlfriend said, hey, why didn't you tell me about this, or or whatever? So she wanted to wait until the woman wasn't pregnant anymore, until her and the baby were safe and well, until they weren't flooded with hormones, to be able to make a better kind of more rational decision, shall we say. So that would be why she's bringing it up now. Because obviously, again, like I said, they did break up a while ago. But I'll show you something else, because Jonah responded by doing this. And I think that this kind of says it all. So he actually sells his merchandise, complete unrelenting control merch, after being accused of emotional abuse by his ex, right? And so let's show you a piece of that. The emotional baggage tote, complete unrelenting control. What do you guys think about that?
It's like, I'm thinking, because
That's weird.
Right?
I feel like everybody markets everything in such a way, because didn't Keke Palmer do the, like, I'm a mother shirt right after her boyfriend, her baby daddy, got upset that she wore something? I feel like everybody just, like, it's like every time something happens, like, all press is good press, no matter what. And everybody like, let me market it now, instead of just be a human being. And just like, hey, why did you feel this way? Why did you do this? Why is that? Is it something wrong with me, or something wrong with somebody else? Instead of like internalizing it, did I not react the way I wanted to? Because even if you just read the messages, he's insecure. But again, People are insecure. I don't hate people being insecure. It's weird. But let's go deeper into it. Why don't people self-reflect? Because I feel like no one does that anymore. No one self-reflects when something is accused of them. Like, was it something I presented? Maybe I didn't feel that way. Maybe I'm like, hey, this is how I want. This is what I want. Blah, blah, blah. But instead, it felt abusive to you. It felt emotional stress to you. And I didn't think about that. Because I just like, hey, this is my boundaries. This is where we live. Because I've been listening to everybody talk about it a little bit. And I'm like, most people are like, well, he has the right to have his boundaries. True. And she can go with it or go against it. And she said she was with him because his crippling problems. Again, not thinking, again, even on her part, not thinking about what it would do to you dealing with this and being a surfer or pro surfer and not being able to surf the way you want to and not being able to collab with certain people. You could have said, a lot of people can, but again, she might be having a lot going on. And I think people reflect on what they do in certain situations that could be better. I actually saw a man on a podcast about like dating, and he said the one place he learned most about dating was when he was in divorce court with his wife. He sat and watched other divorcees and said, oh, I could have did that better in my relationship. That's probably where she saw that. And he said, I learned a lot from that. And I was like, oh, that's very insightful. I actually saw that today. And I'm like, oh, that's insightful. He actually looked at what he went wrong or what other people did and what he could have did better and actually try to improve it. Like, and this, just like everybody else, this is marketing. Like I'm just going to market because that's what we live in. Capitalism. Let's make money off of it. Because as y'all know, a lot of men supported his right to have his own idea. So he's like, I'm going to market it to you.
What do you think, Shar?
I think it is marketing. Am I talking over Zelle? Because I have a delay.
You are?
I want to make sure I don't have a delay.
All right. My mic on for you too, so when I talk on your thing, you should sound too.
Okay, because I can only hear you if I unmute YouTube.
Okay.
But I can't hear you through StreamYard.
Oh.
So I don't know
Okay, yeah,
if I'm late, early, on time.
We will get Zell to fix that sound issue for you while you were answering, Shar. So sorry about that. We will fix that for you though. But go ahead.
Oh, okay. Okay, so because of the issue, I didn't hear all of it. But I got the gist of it. So this is what I'll say when it comes to this. I do agree with the marketing part. But it goes to point out the self-improvement. And from what I'm seeing, the guy is not interested in any type of self-improvement. He's just like, let me just market this. I'm right. I don't care, whatever. And he's moving right on. The young lady, if I'm not mistaken, of what I did hear, she taken some emotional abuse by being manipulated during the relationship. She changed a lot of things to keep the peace. It messed her up. She left the relationship and now she's publicly talking about it. Everyone knows who she is and has to say, I know who she's talking about. So now he's hearing this like, oh, I'm the bad guy. And now I found it interesting that she wanted to watch their relationship. Did the woman have a baby? I don't think I'll be doing all of that. If I'm through with my treatment and my therapist say, this is a good time, and my campaign manager or whoever sponsors me say, we're going to start on talking about mental health because it starts in the month of June. So let's get started with that. Pregnant or not pregnant, that's what we're going to start it. And we're going to, do the campaign. If you're pregnant, not pregnant, I don't care about none of that. I'm not watching your life. And that's what I would say about that. That was a bit much for me, but that's my opinion. I don't know if I missed anything in between there, but that's what
No, that was
I
pretty.
heard.
That was you.
That it was some manipulation. Oh, that's I had it. Okay.
Yep, yep. You
Yeah, so
definitely had
that's
it.
my opinion.
No, I think I mean I can definitely agree with a lot. I think that the one thing I would say, and this is something I've said in general about women who are in these types of things, whether it's acting, singing, in her case, it's surfing, whatever. When you're in a profession that has you posting, you know, necessarily scantily clad pics or videos or whatever, but it's part of your profession, it's part of your branding, it's part of your marketing. Like, there's not really a way of you getting around that, but that's your career. And someone meets you while you're doing that career, then I don't think they really have any room to demand you stop doing it, because it will obviously harm your career and it's part of your career. But in this case, this woman was newly diagnosed with bipolar disorder. So she was a prime candidate to be gaslit, which is what happened. Jonah Hill gaslit her, and made her question her own sanity. And in doing so, she removed pictures she needed to advertise herself. She's a brand, right? That's how you get sponsors. That's how you get paid when you're something like a surfer, right? But she removed all of those things, and it broke her down, and she had to rebuild herself, and then, you know, put all those back up. But then, you know, there's your database of fans is asking, what the hell's going on? And you can't just not answer people these days, right? Because we have all these parasocial relationships, and people feel they have a right to you, and to an extent they do, especially if they're paying your way. So then you got to answer. But then what do you do when you answer, and then people are saying, well, but what about the pregnant chick? And I don't think she even thought of that chick. I'm gonna be real. I think they gave her a good answer. I don't even think she was thinking about that. Do you know what I mean? I think she was ready. She came out with her story and her explanation when she was ready to. I don't think she was thinking about anybody else. This is just like clean up, because they said, how could you do this to the pregnant woman, or what, you know? And we had to think fast. That's what I think.
And she
Oh,
addressed
okay.
the herpes.
Only because she had wrote that, so that's why I was like, I wouldn't be watching somebody's belly. I wouldn't care about all of that. I wrote in the chat room, you know, that part of the Beyonce song, I woke up like this, but he also met her like that. So what's that all about? And one thing I would say from my experience, and I'm sure Don Teasy can be a witness to it, I cut you off real quick. So if I see something I don't like, it don't seem right, I'm gone. I'm not even getting that far. You start
That
acting
is
crazy,
true.
I'm out of here.
Look,
Be
that
quiet,
is
Don Teasy.
true. That is true. Listen. We all know. Shaw don't put up with nothing. Okay. We all have stories of when we put up with something for too long. It was too bad. Not Shar. Those are not Shar's stories. Shar's stories involve, I left this one man because as soon as this happened, I went, not for me. And she's gone. Those are Shar's stories.
Vonda is here too. Shout out to Vonda.
Okay. I'm like, I'm out of here.
Shout out. What's up, Vonda? How you doing, girl? Thank you for coming.
Hey, Lady B.
Ruby. Hey, Zell. Hey, Shar.
Hey,
Thanks for having me. I appreciate you guys having me up.
Always a pleasure.
Well,
did you have something to say right from jump so far?
I do, only because this Jonah Hill thing kind of really just bugged me. The whole Kiki Palmer thing bugged me. What bugs me about it is that these men get on these social platforms and they make such a big deal about this woman whom they have been with, about something about what the woman is wearing, and then they want to, you know, put in all of these controls. Well, you can do this and you can't do that, and you can't do that, and you can't do this. And if the woman does something that they say she can't do, about something about what the woman is wearing.
I think he gotta get his thing back.
Woman was a professional surfer. She was into the surfing, and so when you surf, you're not wearing a sweatsuit. You're wearing a bathing suit. So this is how he met this woman. He met this woman in a freaking bathing suit. Now all of a sudden She can't wear a bathing suit. She can't talk to men. She can't be on social media. And I just think it's just a low level, low vibrational way for men to control women. And it's just ridiculous. I just think it's silly.
We are also
Yeah.
joined by Unico Williams.
I mean,
He has a unique
it
take.
is, yeah. Hmm?
I think we are also joined by Unico Williams.
Well, I'm going to say this.
I mean, if he
awesome. Let me say this really quickly before you go, because I want to just agree with Vonda really quickly and say, like, yes, in my personal opinion, that's literally all that this is about. And you know, when we have another break in the conversation, we can play some of these text messages so we can see them more clearly in full. And you can see, to me, this is all about that man's insecurity and his literally need to control every aspect of her and to get her to literally acquiesce to his insane demands, even if it hurts her career, because of, as she said, his crippling anxiety. And that's all that this was about. It wasn't about anything but his own dejectedness internally and his inability to cope. That's it. This is why, again, what did I use the intro? Coping for clout. What's up, Uniqua? How you doing today?
Let's go. Different opinions.
Hey, I just came on here. How's everybody doing? Hi, panel. Hi, chat. I just came on here to disagree with that.
You can see. To me, this
Joe, are you playing us in the background?
Here's why.
Joe, you have to turn. I think you got us in the background.
Can y'all hear me?
You're playing us in
Oh,
the
is that what's
background?
happening? Okay, you gotta turn off any background.
Yeah, we hear you, but I don't want you to know you got something in the background. You playing us in the background.
I'm hearing something in the background. Yeah.
Thank you for watching.
But his own dejectedness internally and his inability to cope. That's it.
Joe, you hear
Am I supposed to
us?
show up? I don't know if I can.
We hear.
Oh, yeah, I'm hearing.
I don't know. Can y'all hear
That
me?
isn't what I'm hearing.
We hear you, but we also hear us.
Yes,
from
okay.
whatever
You need to
you're
mute. You need to close your YouTube tab. That's what you need to do. So if you have YouTube open, you need to
For
close
my
it.
YouTube, I just came on here to disagree with that.
Oh, is that? No, are you playing us?
I don't have a YouTube tab open. It's just StreamYard.
Oh,
I think you got us in the background.
Can y'all hear me?
You're playing
Oh,
us.
is that yeah, I can hear you perfectly. I can just also hear the stream.
Yes.
Where am I hearing it from?
Is it on your phone, Joe? Playing us in the background.
Okay. I can hear y'all. Can y'all hear me? I'm sorry. That's screw yourself to script the show. I was just trying to say my.
No, it's not. I don't know. You know what? Listen.
Everybody else muted, so it gotta be. It gotta be.
My screwing the show up.
It's got to be one of the three of us, but it's all right.
I don't know. Can y'all hear me?
Everybody just cut if you got muted. Well, Sean Vonda is muted, so they can.
That's what you need to do. So if you have YouTube open, you need to.
I'm sorry. I know y'all got a flow going.
No, it's not. Listen, we're still new. We're still new. It's fine.
I don't have a YouTube
You got
tab
this.
open. It's just StreamYard.
I hear also. You know what I hear? I hear like adventure music.
Also hear the stream. Where am I hearing it from? Is it on your phone, Joe? Oh, let me make sure.
I can hear y'all. Can y'all hear me? I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
Joe. That's you.
Definitely can hear you. Look,
I muted him, so it is you somewhere.
me?
No, it's Joe. I muted him.
Oh.
Yeah, I muted you, so it's you. So it's a lot going on. It's like it's somewhere on one of your old phones or something.
That's perfect.
Well, that's wild. Well, it sounds.
Now I don't hear it, Joe. So you can talk.
Okay, there we go. Let's take two. Hi, Unico. How are you doing?
Hey, chat. Hey, channel. How's everybody doing? Y'all good?
Hey, you, Nico.
Yes, good. Much better.
All right,
Okay, so you came up to disagree,
man.
right?
Don't take no offense. I'm not. Yeah, I can hear you.
Mhm.
So I just this is insane that anybody is taking her side whatsoever on this. I just don't understand. Why do I say this? I say it because
Exactly.
all he did was list out the things that he would like from his woman. He talked about some things that he did. No, because then y'all try and get me in that way because I said he is in the possessive. The partner that he's with at this time, he said that he would like these things out of his partner. He would not like to see these things out of their partner, out of the partner. And then spoke on the friends. He's noticed some things about the friends, and she has had an unruly past or a wild past or history, and he knows that, and he knows that some of those girls are probably still into that stuff. So he's just talked about the things he would like in regards to what he likes. Are you not allowed to have a standard for yourself? Are you not allowed to? Are you not allowed to write down a list? And if the box is checked, that's good for you. Are you allowed to do that? Or are you not allowed to do that? Men aren't allowed to do that, right? Is that what it is?
Well,
Men aren't allowed to have a
let's
standard.
look at the word boundaries, because here's the problem, right? Is that boundaries are supposed to be, and I know it's difficult because technically, I mean, you can make the word boundary mean anything you want, right? When we're talking about in healthy social relationships with other people, the word boundaries also has boundaries, right? So you can't make things about someone else your boundary. Okay, and it feels comfortable for a lot of people to think about it in terms of that, right? Is you change everything about yourself because that's my boundary. No, you respecting your boundaries is not getting with a surfer if you know that crosses your boundary. Do you see what I'm saying? So you can't get with the surfer, be messaging that surfer about how awesome her pictures look at the beginning of the relationship. And there's evidence of this. Also, we see him constantly say, oh my God, this image is beautiful. Oh my God, that's so artistic. That's so great. That's so fantastic. That's so gorgeous. Until he gets to a certain level where now it's the exact opposite, right? And he's penalizing her for the exact same photos he used to praise. And then saying, but my boundaries state, no, because her boundaries were already very clear, and what she does for a living and how she promotes herself and her brand was very clear, very spelled out, very much in stone. And he came in praising her brand, the way she represents herself and whatever. You can't then turn around halfway through the relationship and start acting like she's violating your boundaries. That's called gaslighting, and it's wrong. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can. You can change.
Well, no, see, you can do that.
You can end up empty-handed. You can end up without a girlfriend, because my thing is for her to turn back around and say, what if she came back and said, well, my boundaries are that I like a man, who was, a little bit more in shape. So if you could lose like 40 pounds, Jonas, and, get your six-pack going, then maybe I won't, take any more pictures for the internet. That is just simply ridiculous. For her to even come at him and say something like that, I would feel that she was way out of line, because she met this man with a pot belly. So you don't all of a sudden say, okay, I met you with a pot belly. I think it's great. And now all of a sudden I want you to have a six-pack, or you're crossing a boundary that I have for myself. It is utterly just ridiculous. Nobody is saying this man cannot have his boundaries. Have all the boundaries you want. But like Ruby, clearly and eloquently stated, dude, you liked all the pictures that now all of a sudden you say crosses your boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Go back and restart. You know what? This is not the relationship for you. And then maybe you need to give this list to another chick, because I'm not her.
There you go. Perfectly fine. So where's the misogyny? She can always leave whenever she wants to.
Because no. See, again, no. That's called gaslighting.
Now I got you. Okay, now I got you. Yeah, what you was doing did attract me, right? What you did attract me. Okay, cool, perfect. But now we in a committed, serious relationship, and I don't want to share your body with the world no more.
No, but that's not the way because you cannot get together with someone who is a surfer. Her body and her surfing is her brand. That is her career. And when you guys meet each other, okay, you both actually outline your boundaries, okay? That includes your wants, your needs, who you are, what you're about, so on and so forth, okay? And you line up with each other about whether or not your generalized wants and needs and desires line up or don't, okay? It is literally, there's a thing, it's called gaslighting. It is literally gaslighting when you make someone feel crazy for thinking, no, actually, I don't. See, that's the thing. Unlike a lot of people who overuse words like narcissist or gaslighting, right? This is actually my field. So I don't overuse either of those terms. But there is a thing called gaslighting. I'm going to explain why this is gaslighting. Because when you get together with someone, right? And at the beginning of your relationship, you praise something that you then turn around 6 months later and you start calling them. It's not even just like you're saying, hey, babe, you know what? Listen, I thought about it and I decided that, you know what? I'm not as comfortable as I thought I was with you posting these types of pictures. Can we have a compromise where maybe you don't wear, such small bathing suits or whatever? That's not what happened here. What happened here is he suddenly turned around one day and went, oh, I know why you have all those pictures on your Instagram. It's because you're still trying to F all these guys and da-da-da-da-da. Wait, what? No, you know why I had all these pictures here. We talked about this. Babe, you know that's not what it's about. And you know, even the more ones that were a little sexier, you know, I took down like 25, 30 photos. You know, we went through it together. You said the ones that were up there were good. And then he went, yeah, whatever. This is what you say all the time. First, you want to hang out with your slutty friends. You just want to keep posting all these slutty photos and whatever, and then claim you love me. Obviously, you don't. You have no respect for me at all, because all you're trying to do is be out there constantly. I'm sure you just can't wait till these guys are all in your DMs. Okay, that's what he was doing. That is a very far cry from a man saying, hey, listen, now that we've gotten more serious, I would feel more comfortable if blah, blah, blah. You know, your pictures are beautiful. I understand you have some advertising. However, right, can we draw a line somewhere? Because that's how it started. And she said, sure. And she took down dozens and dozens and dozens of photos because, you know, they crossed the line for Jonah. So when I say that he praised her photos at the beginning, right? And then they went over this and she took down a bunch of photos that were like a little racier or whatever, that weren't like necessary, right? She did that already. That wasn't enough. When someone then starts flaming you and your integrity and your character and your persona, right, and painting it clearly in a really false light and ignoring all of the efforts you've already made, and all the ways that you've acquiesced to their desires and their needs and their wants, yes, that's very gaslighting, right? Like that's what it is.
Okay, if I may, first of all, I want this to be a sample, an example, set example for people that may be on the polar opposite sides of things, but you can still have a discussion. How many times I interrupt Ruby or Vonda? Not at all. You just have a conversation. You know what I'm saying? So I just want this to be an example. But I still don't agree. I just think that but you keep on saying what he's doing. What did she do? We shouldn't be having this conversation because she should have been done laughing. If that's what the case is, he said that's what he wants. He got then bounce. That's bounce. She has a good career. Yeah, he's Jonah Hill. He's America's sweetheart and all that type of stuff, you know. But at the end of the day, she can just leave instead of making herself a victim of a choice that she made. The choice was that she stayed with him after he said, y'all said it's ridiculous, right? If it's so ridiculous, you get up out of there. I feel you. I feel you. Man, I'll never forget this one time I was, no, because I can't do this on this show. I forgot. I can't do that on the show. But I'm telling you, that's how I feel about the situation. If it's so ridiculous and you know what I'm saying, and she just didn't leave. Why not leave if it's so ridiculous? If it's not, if you know what I'm saying, if you got boundaries for yourself, you got the self-respect for yourself, you're gonna do what you got to do for you. I like if I date an OnlyFans girl and I know her out the gate, that's my fault. If I'm gonna end up being insecure about it later, that's my fault. Not all of us is out of 22 and just
so then you do agree with that. Thank you.
No, you just lost it.
You just agreed with that.
I'm just saying, yeah, don't get into this. Okay, you're right. I will say I agree with that. Don't get into this situation if you know what you're really getting into. I hear you. But once you're in it and things change in that situation, she still has the option to leave. And I feel like people been trying to play it up as she's making herself the victim in regards of like, you know, she had no choice. She had a choice the whole time. Just bounce and then talk stuff about them later.
No.
Are they still together? Or
no, she left eventually. Right, but
they broke up once you put on there and call people abusers on social media. Yeah, they broke up.
No. They broke up long before that. So I'll explain something. Maybe you missed this part of the story. But while she was with Jonah, right, around the time that all of these decisions were starting to be made and the change up was starting to happen, she was also going through the start of bipolar 1. Right, so she had just recently, like while she was with Jonah, had her first onset of bipolar disorder. So that means she had her first onset of a manic episode, and then she was being medicated. And so what he was doing was he was intentionally making her question her sanity, making her question things that were said or done, making her question everything, literally making her question herself, like as far as like looking down upon herself for being on the medication, for what the medication was making her look like, what the medication was making her do, making her think that, oh, she's not seeing herself objectively, like in the mirror and stuff. Like, he was really doing a lot of manipulation. And so when people say, well, why didn't she just leave? Right? Yeah. If you are an emotionally healthy person in an emotionally healthy relationship, and then someone does something you don't like in that relationship, well, yeah, of course you would just leave, right? But we forget that a lot of times when you have one emotionally unhealthy person, they tend to look for another emotionally unhealthy person to be codependent with, right? So they find something that works well with the kind of emotionally unhealthy they are. So when you are the kind of person who's incredibly insecure and constantly needs to be validated, then you find someone who's incredibly insecure, willing to constantly validate you, and is willing to put up with being constantly gaslit, right? Or otherwise manipulated out of their own sanity. Right now, is that a great thing to have or to be? Like, no. And that's why she said she spent the last, year and a half, like with a lot of therapy and changing medications, trying to find what works and what fits and what doesn't, right? She's only 26 years old. She was with Jonah from being 24 to 25. So she's pretty young at the onset of having a mental disorder for the rest of your life, right? So that's why, right? Whereas he was like not going through anything she was going through. And he's also 39 years old, right? When she was significantly younger. So there was also that dynamic there. He absolutely knew what he was doing. He knew what he was getting into. He knew who he was choosing, right? He chose her. He praised her. He did the foot in the door technique where he said, oh, just take down some of these photos, babe, that are unnecessary. I just don't like that. Like, he's totally reasonable. And then when she got on the medication and then he started gaslighting her and started making her question that, like, oh my God, if she has these photos up she needs for surfing, right, for her career, then is she really doing it because somewhere secretly deep down in her soul she actually is trying to attract other men? Because Jonah says that must be what it is. And is there another answer? Well, according to Jonah, no, there's not, right? And you love this man and you don't want to prove him right, and so on and so forth. We forget that there's a pathology behind this type of manipulation and abuse, and it could go both ways. Just in this case, we're talking about from Jonah to her, right? But I've also talked about it the opposite way, because women can do this to men as well. So
I want to shout out to Chris in the kick chat.
Well. You may have bested me this time, but Captain Contraria will be back next week. I got some catfish and spaghetti to eat.
Boo the catfish. That is not normal. Hey, look, personal accountability. He admitted you won, Ruben. So that's personal accountability.
I would say I'm just saying he admitted he was wrong right at the beginning. So
hey, well, I did admit when you brought up the OnlyFans girl thing.
So my question is, I thought I had heard that Jonah was also in some sort of therapy of some sort, which is why he was able to, detail out his boundaries all of a sudden,
I think that's, now this is what people are saying that now again, and I don't have a lot of details about this, right? So this is where, like, for example, I put the boundaries thing. Hey, Unico, listen, you got off the stream. By all means, sir, it was your turn. You could have told me how wrong I was. I'm just saying, it was already your turn. You could have told me how wrong I was. You didn't, though. That's all I'm saying. But the words like boundaries, and you can see it in the text messages as well, right? He uses these terms that he learned from their relationship therapist, right? And so Sarah knows that he learned them from therapy because it was their couples therapy, and he used the terminology against her, right?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. So he did turn around and use those against her. You know what? I'm sorry. If she was already going through, did you say bipolar?
Yes, bipolar 1. Mm-hmm.
Okay, you know what? That right there means that she was in some way compromised, and he kind of used that as a way to manipulate the situation. I'm not going to say he was abusive, that's a strong word, but he definitely manipulated the situation, knowing that there was a mental component with her. If she bipolar is nothing to play with, it's nothing to laugh at, it's nothing to just flick your finger at. That is a very serious illness. And for him to take that and just kind of twist it and use those words to manipulate her, she probably spent a great deal of time second guessing herself, second guessing, her actions, or was I wrong, or should I have not done it? Should I have done it? Or, am I, being selfish? Am I not being selfish? Is he being unreasonable? So she was like really trying to figure out a whole lot of things. And I bet you through her therapy and her taking her medication, she figured out that this man, this older man that she was with, he's a older by a decade and then some. She saw that he was manipulating her and it didn't feel good. And she had to get out of that situation. She's not stupid. She may not have been able to actually do anything at the time until she figured it out. But yeah, there's a reason why they're not together. There's a reason why this, a decade and then some older got with this younger woman.
Right. And I mean, I think that's an important factor to that people are not giving her credit for. Like, she's a lot younger than he is, like a lot younger, right? Like, I mean, 25 isn't like a baby, but he's like 40, right? So like, it's like 15 years is a lot of growth time. Okay. Like a lot of growth time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now I want to play, like, we can talk through this because there's no sound to it, but these are just like the text messages up close so we can see it. Now this is her warning at the top, saying this is a warning to all girls. If your partner is talking to you like this, make an exit plan. Love y'all. Call me if you need an ear. Now the fact that she said make an exit plan, I mean, hey, maybe she's using therapy language against him as well in this. I mean, I don't know. But normally when you talk about an exit plan, you're talking about people who are under threat, right? So
exactly. You're talking about safety. Exit plan meaning safe, a safe exit from this relationship.
Exactly. And I mean, we don't know because her allegation wasn't there, right? But I've seen it before in YouTube. I've seen it before where women or men have put stuff like this out there to warn the next person, right? And because that's what she said she's doing, right? But I've seen people do this for real because they don't want to put the physical abuse allegation out there. Like, they don't want to do that. They don't want to get police involved or whatever, but they want the next person to know, like, hey, you're not crazy and you don't have to go through this for years before realizing you're not crazy like I did. So I'm going to let you kind of know it's happened to me too, right? So, and again, me too. So that's what it seems like. Maybe that might be the situation that's happening, but she might also just be manipulating the psychology language, right? Just like he did with the word boundaries that he wrongly used. So
I'm also glad we're talking about this.
You also have to realize too, in her therapy, she realized that, okay, what he's doing, the way he's reacting with all of this is not cool. And it is a form of abuse. She learned this through therapy, that this is a form of abuse, this manipulation that he's, acting out with her. And I think what happens is people get so triggered. And I'm going to say it, men get so triggered. They get so triggered when you use the word, oh, he abused me. The only way they see abuse as being slapped or kicked or punched or something of that nature. And although, it's not even said that, Jonah did any of that to her, the things that he did, the manipulation that, he enacted upon her was in itself, abusive, and I think people need to take themselves out of the equation. You're not Jonah. And if what he did was abusive to her, nobody said you were abusive. So separate yourself from the situation. He tried to gaslight this woman.
Right.
He tried to manipulate her into thinking that, okay, your girls are tramps. So, if you hang around with tramps, then that makes you a tramp, and some of these girls she could have been friends with since, 8th grade. And now all of a sudden, because her 40-year-old boyfriend, says, oh no, your girlfriends are, trashy. So if you hang around with them, you're trashy too. And that's
Right.
really like those are like classic, markers. They
Oh
they
yeah.
talk about first, oh,
Yeah.
we don't want you wearing this. You can't wear this because if you wear it, that means you're disrespecting me. Oh, you can't be talking to guys because if you talk to guys, that means you're disrespecting me. Oh, no, you can't hang around with Sally because I know Sally sleeps with a lot of guys. And if you hang around with Sally, that means you're sleeping around with a lot of guys. So that means, you can't do that. So it's like all of this control. Take everything that, was who she was, and just make her only
Mhm.
available and for him. And you know what? That is no fun. Who come on.
Hey,
No.
I'm about to go over what I always go over the entire time, over and over again, repeating. Hey, listen, all you do is to keep talking about. I said it in the video just a minute ago. Listen, stop going after inexperienced girl to raise them and they get mad when they don't do what you want to
I'm
do.
glad she figured it out. I'm glad she's getting some help. And the best case scenario was for her to say, hey, this is what happened to me. If these are some signs, if this starts to happen to you, then something's going on. And that's all it
Mhm.
was.
Well, yeah, and like if you look here, right? Like look at these messages, right? Look at this. So she said, "Here are the 25, 30 messages I removed for you, babe." And he said, "Good start. You don't seem to get it, but it's not my place to teach you. I've made my boundaries clear. You refuse to let go of some of them, and you've made that clear." Right? And it's like, no, that's not how that works. Actually, it is literally your place and your responsibility and your fault to teach about your boundaries. That is literally actually, yes, it's your responsibility. And when you start seeing people say that it's not their responsibility, that's where, to me, you start having a problem right there. Like, it's like, this is early on, like, good start, but you don't seem to get it. Like, wait, what? Like, she removed so much stuff, but you don't seem to get it. Like, what do you mean? No, she doesn't. So why don't you explain it? No, you're not going to explain it. You're just going to shame her, right? So then this isn't really about her
Yeah.
being able to get
Even
it.
with the next one, I've made my boundaries clear, but you refuse to let go. And I'm like, wait a minute. I don't know.
Listen. Hey,
right?
Listen, I told y'all, stop going after the young girl that's inexperienced so you can raise them and they get mad when you got to try to raise them because it's weird. And then it's not natural for you to want somebody to raise like a daughter that's 18 because it's a weird trope that I hear too much. Like, I want a girl that don't know nothing. Why? So I can teach you everything. Then you get mad at you when you try to manipulate her, then she accuse you. So, listen, go for somebody that on your levels of intellect somewhere so you can have Nico say, why would I want a woman that has interest, the same interest as me? I'm like, so you can connect. What kind of, like, why, what is this dumb logic that everybody want to, like, a empty palette that they can paint and then get upset when the paint don't end up like they want? That's all I want to know about all this. Because everybody keep like, oh, I want a girl I can mold. That's a lot of work. I don't want to raise another daughter as a girlfriend. That is weird. I'm going to raise her as a wife.
It's very weird. That's very weird.
I think too many people have that. Like, bro, set your boundaries. Your boundaries fine. I find some of them weird, but your boundaries fine. But again, once you set them and she didn't want to do it, just say, okay, that's it. And by the way, like I said, my first opinion was at the first time was, hey, she could just leave. But then I found out more that she probably like has some mental problems and maybe some low self-esteem or something. She probably stayed. And then when she starts saying, I care about him and I didn't want his mental, I'm like, that's a horrible thing to do. Don't ever put your mental, don't ever put somebody else's mental above yours because your mental is important. And I think the same thing for him too. If he has a mental problem, listen, people gotta learn to take care of themselves, self accountability. And I think everyone should like just start being like, okay, this is what I want in a relationship, and this is what I need, and this is what I look for. And stop just dating, oh, she's pretty and I want her. So that's like the weird thing I want everybody to start going in. Like, just start making what you want and go for that. Why are you trying to make someone else into a mold of something you want? And bro, it's not even fun when you make somebody what you want. Sometimes I like a little danger. I like a little different. Like, people aren't meant to be like similar. I don't want a twin or a daughter raised to be my girl. That's strange. But it seems like a lot of people want that, and especially in these new YouTube spaces I just come upon. But they ain't new, but I just come upon them. I'm like, why do you want to raise her? I want a girl that don't nothing. I'm like, no, you want somebody that has some experience doing something. Unless you just, like I said, want to raise a daughter and pretend it's your wife. The same way these mothers do their son, by the way. They raise their son to be like their boyfriend. It's all strange, baby.
Well, and see, like, if you see this, like, so this Jessica Valenti wrote this, right? She said, I've seen folks tweet that if Jonah Hill wanted a girlfriend who didn't post bathing suit pictures or have guy friends, he shouldn't have dated a surfer, right? But what I like about this at this point, right, is the next thing that is said, which is, but here's the thing: emotionally abusive and controlling men don't want submissive women. They want to take strong women down a peg. That is the difference, right? And this is why it's like, technically, Unico, you can listen. You can ask Zell, okay? I am the only red pill supporter, or at least ideology on this panel, okay? Or that you've even seen on the panel all night, okay? I tend to support red pill ideology. Vonda tends to disagree with everything I say, so on and so forth, okay? So I am not the one who is sitting there and anti-submitting to your man and anti, being able to compromise, anti-respecting what a man wants and needs. And I'm not that one, right? But that's not what happened here, okay? Jonah Hill, it's not like they bumped into each other somewhere and then Jonah Hill said, like, listen, for me, this is how I roll. Okay, I like something more traditional. I wouldn't be comfortable with bathing suit pics of my chick up there, right? You'd have to be wearing a full wetsuit with me if you were so. He didn't do that. Lay out what he wanted, right, and needed from a significant other, and then see whether or not she was willing to step into that frame or not. That's not what happened, right? And the fact that it didn't happen suggests that what Jessica Valenti here said is true. Right? He didn't want a woman who's submissive, nor did he want a woman who would willingly submit. That's not what he wanted. He wanted to take down that woman a peg. He wants a woman that he could break and mold into what he wants her to be, right? Not who would willingly, voluntarily change. And so in essence, then you don't want submission. That's not what you want, right? You want power, which is not the same thing. And that's not healthy. And if we're confusing those two things as being the same thing, to me, that's a problem. That's a huge problem because they're not the same. And this is what I say. I'm like, hey, I'm more traditionally minded, right? That being traditionally minded is not the equivalent to being a doormat or being a pushover or to being stepped all over or to being disrespected or to being verbally, mentally, physically abused. Like, people equate the two things, and it's because you have men out there who are conflating the two and don't understand that a woman being in submission to her man is not you having authority and power over her like she's a child. That's not what that is. And part of that is you voicing stuff, right? You voicing your boundaries and making sure it's clear if it wasn't, and you having the power within yourself and confidence within yourself to be honest and open and upfront about these things. So I'm just saying.
Listen, you can also I don't think it's ever good to just go to social media and front your problems. I hate the social media is not the Twitter is like a cesspool of I'm gonna destroy you no matter what. And you're gonna always look at the negative stuff with social media. So, like, I get why she wanted probably friend, but at the same time, she probably getting a lot of hate. So I hope she's strong enough to deal with it because she gonna catch it because that's what people do. Also, same thing. He just gonna take it and not take it on the chin and be like, "Oh, look at this merch," because he know it's gonna be a lot of people on his side on that page because he is the more popular person and no one knows who she is. So it's gonna be, and it's a lot of power dynamics. I think that is weird after researching more, but at the same time, like I said, he still has a right to his boundaries. We just have to take personal accountability, unless he's a psychopath for real. And a lot of times I don't like talking about these because I really don't know the dynamics, because it could be like manipulative. Mm-hmm. But from what we saw, because he ain't put nothing out to counter it, but from what we saw, after looking at all of it, he does look bad at the same time. But at the same time, I don't know all the dynamics, and it might just be some weird manipulative like thing they have that they go at each other. I have no clue about that, by the way. I'm just saying it's a chance that could happen. But again, if you set your boundaries early in a relationship, if you set your boundary and everybody know what you're supposed to be, and you go after something that you seek instead of trying to mold somebody else into it, it tends to end better than you trying to force somebody to be what you want them to be. Rather than.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think the simple fact of the matter is that they were only in a relationship for what, a year, maybe 2 years, and they were already in couples therapy? What was the couple therapy for?
Mm-hmm.
What problems were they having? Was it with these boundaries all of a sudden that he had a problem with? So they're going to couples therapy so she can change who she is, because even though he met her like this, he wants her to change. Now it's time for her to change. She has to change. And what that Jessica Valente said, I think if he
Mm-hmm.
wasn't looking for a submissive woman, he was looking for a strong woman that he could break. I find that to be utterly disgusting and manipulative. I'm sorry. That is disgusting and
Mm-hmm.
manipulative because I don't think that, he would have a hard time finding a submissive woman, but he wanted
Nope.
that woman. That
Yes.
woman. He wanted her. And she wasn't submissive when she met him, but he wants to break her and change her. He wants her wearing sweats, not surfing
Mm-hmm.
anymore, not talking to men. And
Mm-hmm.
it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And that can be too much for a woman. Now you want me to change
Yes.
everything about myself. And now I don't know who I am because you want me to change everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everything.
Mm-hmm. I mean, did you see there
All
was
for the
one of the
sake of
text
security.
messages? Well, I'm gonna find this text message because one of the text messages was explaining. Here you go. Look at this. Look at what the so she being our couples therapist at the time. Okay, look at this text message. She had me agree to paddle away from any man that approached me in the water, no matter his age. I was instructed to say, "I'm gonna go talk to my boyfriend," and then paddle away. Like this is what their couples therapist was doing to help their relationship, was teaching her how to make Jonah less insecure because
Yeah, that's too much.
she's a
No.
surfer in the water. If a guy in the water speaks to her or whatever, the fact that she's not even allowed, because I've met people who do stuff like this and I think it's really weird. Like it gives me like the ick, like the willies when people do stuff like that. Like they're afraid to talk to the opposite sex, like at all, like just even in a casual conversation or something. Like to me, that's not normal, right? Like you should be able to just have a passing conversation, and your significant other should be able to trust that, like you wouldn't
Because
allow
it's
the
not
conversation to go somewhere
normal.
disrespectful, right?
It's not normal. There are only two kinds of people in the world. There are males and there are females.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you have a problem if I talk to a male, but if I'm working at a job and a male comes up to me, I'm supposed to avert my eyes. I'm not supposed to talk to him. I'm not supposed to help this male because he's a male. It's like, stop it. That's where it gets to be ridiculous. So she's out paddle boating in the middle of the ocean and some man comes up to talk to her, she's supposed to just paddle off. Let me go find my boyfriend and paddle off. Like that's ridiculous. That's just, I'm sorry, that's silly. That is just really silly.
Mm-hmm. It's terrifying that this is what she was living under, and she was being told by a so-called professional that she was obviously wrong, right? So again, when you ask, well, why didn't she just leave? Now you're seeing, when you look at the whole story together, you see why she wasn't just leaving, because she basically thought she was in the wrong at first, right? Because she had a probably very paid off therapist telling her so. But I noticed earlier, Shar said that, like your boundaries have to do with physical space. That is a type of boundary. Okay, there's 6 different types of boundaries. So I did want to quickly touch on this. This because maybe people don't understand why they're saying, hey, he's using the word boundaries incorrectly. And he's bastardizing the term boundaries, right? So you have intellectual boundaries also, okay? And those are like preferences related to how opinions, thoughts, and conversation topics are shared and handled. So let's say, for example, a good one, because, well, I know Vonda and Shar will definitely relate to this one. Okay, Shar does not like having really divisive, argumentative discussions, right? She doesn't like it. That is not Shar's thing. That's a boundary she sets, right? She doesn't argue with you, and she doesn't want you to argue with her. Not in that way, in that, battle head to head, you're wrong and here's why. She just won't do it, right? And she doesn't engage in that, and she doesn't treat you that way, and she needs you to return that in kind. And if you won't respect that, then she'll remove herself from the situation, right? That's an intellectual boundary. it might even, sort of count as an emotional boundary depending on how it makes her feel. But like, that's so, even though it's not physical space, it's still a boundary, right? I would like to be treated this way. I don't want to argue. And if you can't not to give that to me, like, I'll disagree with you or you disagree with me. But if you can't leave it there, then you're not showing respect to my boundary I've drawn, right? So that's a boundary. Another boundary is an emotional boundary, right? So that's the what, where, and how much a person shares their emotional life, and how your own and others' emotional needs are handled, right? So that's maybe some people need a lot of physical touch. Some people don't like physical touch at all, right? Or some people really need to share their emotional lives, verbally out loud. And some people don't like that and feel uncomfortable when you're constantly pressing them, right? Share. It's like it feels violating, right? And so people have different emotional boundaries, right? And everyone sees the thing. People have different intellectual boundaries. Physical boundaries, we understand, but people have different levels of physical boundaries as far as, hey, you're in my personal space. Well, where is your personal space? It might depend on the person, that's in your personal space or not, or it might just depend on who you are versus who someone else is, right? I don't like when anyone touches me for any reason, like even my mother, like I love her, but just, do you have to touch me? Like, can't you sit over there and not touch me? That's me, right? But some people are very touchy-feely, like, again, my mother. So, she likes to violate my personal space and always has. It's uncomfortable for me, but for her, it's not. It's uncomfortable the opposite way. Like, she feels a little rejected, right? We all have different boundaries when it comes to physical. Then you have sexual boundaries, how sexual matters are talked about, when, where, and how sexual material is presented, consent related to sexual or sexually suggestive words, jokes, images, gesture, or touch, right? Some people like being crass and rude and zesty, and some people like propriety. And, let's just use acronyms and, not get into it, right? Because they feel like violated. Right? Some people really like using the medical terms, and some people feel insulted by the medical terms. Those are different boundaries, right? Time boundaries, how you relate to your own and others' time, how time-related needs and preferences are handled. So, for example, some people they feel really disrespected when someone's 5 minutes late. Those type of people generally can't be my friends because I try so hard to be on time, and I'm always late, like a disease.
True.
Yeah, it's like a disease. I can't. I try so hard. You don't understand how hard I try. It just doesn't work for me. And material boundaries, treatment of possessions and property, preferences and needs regarding possessions and property, how possessions and property are shared, right? I am very sensitive about the way people touch my property in any way, right? But again, some people are not, right? And so this is why, again, now if you think about the things that Jonah was saying, doesn't make any sense. We're all very different in these 6 key components, right? The only way someone's going to be able to respect boundaries at all for you is if you verbalize and communicate them, and if you keep those lines of communication open, because sometimes you're going to need to correct, because the person you're communicating with is probably different than you. They probably have different boundaries than you. So the only way they're going to be able to respect your boundaries, sometimes they might confuse it, faux pas it, flub it up. You have to be communicating these things regularly, right? But if you notice, none of these things, not one of these things, has anything to do with the fact that she wears a bikini to do her job surfing in the water. Do you notice that? Like none of those things are that, right? So you might want to put that into 3, right? Sorry, not 3, I think that's 2. Emotional boundaries. You might want to put it in there. But does it belong there? Right? Isn't it a Jonah problem that he emotionally is so damaged by her so much as just having a casual conversation with a man in the water in her profession? Like whose fault is that? Do you know what I mean? Like is that really like a her thing and she's gotta fulfill this thing? Like to me that's wild. And I think this is why they're saying like, no, honey, these boundaries thing, no, she's bastardized. They're bastardizing it. This is the wrong use of boundaries. It's not about his boundaries. And I don't care if it's the manosphere or Jonah or anywhere. Anyone who says, these are my boundaries. No, they're not. These are my preferences. Maybe. But if you didn't state them at the beginning, are they preferences or is this a reaction to you feeling insecure? Because if it's a preference, when you or a boundary, one or the other, when you have stated it right at the very beginning, very confidently, and be willing to continue stating it because it's something you're confident in, right? And you don't think there's anything wrong with it, right?
Right.
I'm just saying, Mr. Williams, I'm glad you're getting food, but I would love to hear part 2 of your response, because someone need to explain that one to me.
Listen. He did say if you date an OnlyFans girl, and then I'm like, that's a whore. We don't do that. Stop. You gonna lose. There's no sense. If you date an OnlyFans girl, and they be like, I don't like my girls having somebody. I'm like, you a wild dude. Unless you're not doing it. But if you were comfortable with her showing skin on, and she got one, and then she does show skin, I'm like, why did you date her? That makes no sense. Like, if you like, hey, I don't want that. If you don't want it, it's fine. That's perfectly fine. Everybody has a right to what they don't want. You have the right to want everything on that list can be valid. You just have to express it early and don't chase someone that's not willing to do it or try to make them do what you want. That's my only problem with everybody. Like, I don't think he should go to, unless he did something abusive, of course. But if he didn't, if that's it, he shouldn't go to jail. But it's, again, he should express himself. Everybody should communicate better. And I don't know. I would say, I don't know if it's this time, but I think humans lack certain communication skills totally. So I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, communicate.
But he
Was
seems
that the end of your
unreasonable.
sentence? Go ahead.
He even seems like one of those unreasonable type men that even if his woman, he wouldn't want a male doctor in the delivery room as she's delivering a child, as if, like she has a choice in that, for the most part, if there's an emergency. It's like, dude, just chill out. It's like anything that has to do with another man regarding her, he feels insecure. And I just think I think that's a him problem, not a her problem. That's a him problem. And he needs to work on his self-esteem, and that's not a dig at anybody, because you know what? We all have issues with our self-esteem in one way, form, shape, or another.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to work on that,
True.
Work
I
on it,
100% agree. What about you, Sal? You agree?
Yeah, everybody needs, like I said, everybody needs you need something you need to work on. You have ideas, you have things you're not confident in, you have insecurities. Like we had the Adam 22 and Lena thing, which I did try to cover Monday, but I got so bored and I was too busy interested in why Grey Pill haven't finished The Flash, because I don't care what these people do. I'm like, I'm gonna cover this story, and I'm like, why haven't you finished The Flash, Grey Pill? So shout out to Grey Pill for still not finishing The Flash after trying to watch it like 10 times. So, and I'm like, I don't care, but it's that too. It's like every dude is like obsessed with it's got the BBC. You love BBC in your girl. And I'm like, why are y'all obsessed with it? Like, I don't. Hey, listen, it's strange, especially after you just got married or whatever. But I'm like, at the end of the day, that's their business. It's default business. Like, you can watch the show Monday. I tried to watch it, Ruben. I'm like, this is so boring. I rather care. I mean, last Thursday, and I'm like, this is so boring. I rather talk to Grey Pill about why he hasn't watched The Flash. But like I said, I done got to the point where I don't care about what celebrities and people do. And it's like their life, and I hope everybody get their life together at the same time. Even though Jonah, it does present a great question. I like things that present a great idea, and I don't think they did, but this one presents a better question. It makes me think more. Like, what things could I work on better? What dating situation could I do better? What have I ever been manipulative? Have I ever been dead at that? I always think it's a good time to self-reflect. And have I ever used something to get somebody? Something like that. Just always self-reflect and make yourself better for the next person. Yeah, and I agree with Dante's. All this stuff's supposed to be anything you have a preference for. Hey, listen, I know you do this. If you give it up, we can be together, but I ain't really for it. And that should have been done in the first date. First 2 second date.
True fact. So I think then basically we are all in agreement. It's not reasonable. It's this.
Years you've been hanging in these shooting streets. Congratulations, you just earned your bachelor's degree. You wanna clap them cheeks? You wanna clap them cheeks?
Hoping for clout. All right. So I think, it's pretty much final. There was only really one defender of the other side, and he knew it wasn't worth missing catfish to try to keep lying about it. So it's all right. We cool though. We cool. I'm glad he came up though. Thank you so much, Vonda and Shar, for coming up on, of course, the glorious winning side. It's always a pleasure, the ladies, to have you up here. And it's always feels a little weird when me and Vonda agree so thoroughly. It's like
It's very weird. You guys just don't
Yeah.
know. It's very weird when me and Ruby agree.
I'm gonna have to come up with a topic next week, so I'm gonna be motivated to come up and just bust it, Ruby.
and like disagree. Yeah, no, because that's the thing. Like, and it's so funny because like Unico came up here is like, oh, I know, I see what this is like. It's like, no, normally I'm on the opposite side by myself. No one is on my side but me. I'm here supporting the red pill ideology or whatever that viewpoint. And then this week, it's just finally had someone who might have been on my side about something, and nope. I was on the side of the righteous with everyone else, so sorry about it. But thank you very much, everybody, for coming out today. It was a good. I think it was a good discussion topic. Because, I mean, I don't know. I guess we'll see. We'll see. Listen, if something comes out that proves that this woman is a liar in some way or framing Jonah unfairly, I'll apologize. Just like I have to apologize about what's his name.
So far, Jonathan Majors look really good.
Majors, yes. I have to apologize about Jonathan Majors because anytime his story came up, I didn't even give feedback. I just said he looks guilty. Like he just looks guilty. But to be fair, they're showing clips from him in the movies, and he was good at
another discussion. He looks guilty to me too. I haven't changed my mind.
I haven't changed my mind. I feel terrible because I didn't even try. I was look at his pictures. He looks guilty. Like that was as far as I thought it through. It's terrible.
That's why he's the main villain of the MCU. He looks like.
He looks terrible. Yeah, they typecasted him well because he looks guilty. I'm going to say. But now they're showing all these pictures of him like smiling and looking all soft and nice, and I'm like, oh, I feel so bad.
He still looks guilty, Ruby. I'm sorry. Don't feel bad. You're right in your thoughts on how he looks. He looks guilty. Gosh darn it, he is guilty. I'm gonna stick with that.
Oh, see, no, I now that I've seen some extra evidence, I'm going to be pro on the Jonathan Majors side a little bit more. I think that there's a good chance he's not guilty now, at least, and I'm willing to have a discussion because before all I would say is he's guilty, and that's all I would do, and that was it. That was the end of my discussion. So I'm willing to admit I'm wrong when I'm wrong.
August 7th. So we're gonna see what he present. What does she present? We're gonna do the trial. Like I said, to me, he is. I'm like, I don't know what she's like. They got people outside that watch her beat him, and he was running away. And then if they really got, I'm telling y'all, if they really got that police tape when they coerced him, and they say what he really said. Like I said, Insider is not like a person. They said what he said, and they're like, how did the black man afford this? And then they start coaching him. Oh, I'm going off. I'm just gonna go out and listen. The police just set somebody up against him. Like, how you get that white woman? What did he do for a living? Like, okay, I see what this is.
Well, I guess we shall see. It'll have to be an August discussion. That's what we're gonna do.
But thank you again, Vonda. Any last words, Vonda?
No, I just want to say thanks for having me. I mean, this was a pretty hot topic. You know, I did want to, weigh in on the Jonah Hill thing. I think he was a little bit, way out, and he needs to, communicate his boundaries, I believe, earlier in the relationship instead of, struggling with this chick, sending her, through couples therapy and, second guessing herself and all of that crazy mess, all of this, for nothing. All because of his insecurities. So, yeah, get your act together, Jonah.
Right? Yeah. I mean, he's not an evil guy. I kind of do agree with what she said. I don't think he's an evil guy. I don't think he's a horrible guy. I think he's a very wildly insecure, mentally in need of some assistance guy,
Hey, listen, I don't know what they be doing, them Hollywood actors when they're young. They just come out, wow.
A lot.
Hey, listen. Hey, Miley Cyrus and Justin Bieber, they be all hip hop and tattoos, and then they go to church, and then everybody forgive them. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know what they got going on over there. They got that good team. We got Jonah Hill might need that good team because I don't know what they got him going. Maybe he'll go to church soon. Ruben go to a retreat to help his mental issues so he can sell some more merch.
Maybe.
All right, that's the end of the show. Ruben, the last word.
I already said them.
She said them.
To pick up on this. You had to practice already, so it's only been one day I missed. All right, listen.
Yeah, she been one day I'm solo. I was sad and lonely.
obviously, listen, okay, y'all, you have an excellent week. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming out. We will see y'all on Thursday for our full show. Okay, Zell does not have the opportunity to give any last words because he's given like 17 statements. So everybody have a great night. Cheers, y'all.
Yeah. Oh, I ain't
Peace
here.
out.
I'm still here. Okay.